All right, peace and shalom, family. What's good? That's good. It's Divine Prospect of Kingdom Harbinger Ministries. Thank you all for joining in to another Freestyle Friday live session. Peace and shalom, family. What's good? Oh, man. Hold on 1 second. It's Divine Prospect of Kingdom Harbinger Ministries. Thank you all for joining in to another Freestyle Friday. That's just me repeating myself again on YouTube. All right, I took care of that. My bad for that feedback. All right, so I'm just going to give it a moment for people to join in. All right, before we get started. All right. Give it a moment. All right. Let me get this together. All right, fam. So just gonna give y'all another couple of minutes to join in. Hit 1 if the audio and video is on point. Hit 1 if the audio and video is on point. Shalom to Black Av in the building. Shalom to Malak Lorenzo Amadis in the building. All right. You want to shout out, hit 2. The audio and visual is on point, hit 1. All right. Hit 1 if the audio visual is on point, hit 2 if you want to shout out. All right. Shalom to Princess Yasharala in the building. Shalom Akoti. Shalom to Adaya Yisrael. To Martin Davis, Nisi Pieces. Appreciate it. Y'all saying that everything is good to go. Shout out to Malak. Shout out to Princess Yasharala. All right. Thank all of y'all for supporting, for joining in. Actually, I was going to be live much earlier, but had a Facebook live discussion that was impromptu, kind of ate into my preparation for tonight's session. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Miss Teronis in the building. Shout out to my sister Kelly Rivers in the building. Peace, sis. Nisi's Pieces, peace to you as well. So we're about to get started in a few. All right. So I'm gonna go over a couple things with y'all. I know some of y'all don't follow me on Facebook. Some of y'all just go onto YouTube and don't deal with social media at all. Some of y'all are on other forms of social media like Twitter or like Instagram. But a lot of the stuff that I put out, like I said, most of it is on Facebook because there's a larger base on Facebook. And then secondarily would be like YouTube, Instagram, and then Twitter, right? I got to kind of build the Twitter base up a little bit before I start putting more information out on there. But with that being said, I appreciate y'all for joining in. Like I said, share this link. I'll wait another minute or two for more of y'all to join in. All right, while y'all doing that, I had mentioned in the last live how there would be a greater degree of normalcy in regards to the timing for Freestyle Friday and or Saturday Night Live. You know, my objective for doing these shows, we're going to be anywhere roughly for about 10 p.m. So anywhere from 10 to 11 p.m. on Fridays and Saturdays. And that way I'm going to try my best to maintain it with consistency because my workload during the day has now been changed. So now I have more of a normal schedule so I can be able to do that more consistent like I wanted to initially. So hopefully y'all enjoy and appreciate that. I know a lot of y'all want to be able to make it for the Freestyle Friday or Saturday Night Live sessions. You feel what I'm saying? Shout out to Nathaniel Ban Yahawada. Shout out to my sister Lynette C in the building. Shout out to Glory Be to the Most High Forever in the building with us. All right, shalom to you. I'm gonna stop hitting that because it looks like the camera is jumping when I do that. All right, so we're gonna get back to a degree of consistency. I'm gonna put out a flyer for Freestyle Friday and a flyer for Saturday Night Live. Whatever one I'm gonna be able to do, I'll actually put it out about an hour or two before I begin. And it'll be on all social media. For those of you on here, just know it'll be anywhere from 10 to 11 p.m. It'll start on Fridays and Saturdays going forward. I was going to do it every other week so it could be more consistent. But now that my shift has changed, I can be able to do it every week, right? So if I do it every week, I'm going to need y'all support. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to need y'all to share the link. I'm going to need y'all to join in, in the chat. Give your feedback, your input, whatever the case may be. Let's keep this thing lively. Let's keep this thing proactive. Let's keep this thing positive. You feel what I'm saying? And allow it to be the synthesis for a lot of the stagnation that's in the community. You know what I'm saying? This channel is designed to get you to be proactive once you're activated with the information. You understand what I'm saying? So once we activate that spark that's in you, we can get the engine going, and now you can go into the direction with a little bit more horsepower in the direction that Yah is leading you. You know what I'm saying? So we just want to equip y'all for the ride. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate everybody that's donated as well. And that also keeps things going, helps with research and development, helps with the community improvement programs. It helps when people need and we have it to give. It helps with the programs that we offer by gifting it out to people. It also helps with the other, big initiatives that I'm a part of, which is the cityhood and the charter school program. You know what I'm saying? So all your donations is definitely going to places that it needs to go to assist and help other projects that we got going on. So I appreciate y'all for that. Thank you for getting the word out. Thank you for sharing the link. So these are the things that, that if we get more of the support from you guys, the sessions can be more consistent, right? And then we can address more questions that you guys may have, topics you want me to teach on, or whatever the case may be, all right? Shout out to Ahabala, MOHA. All right, so while the watching count increases, I'm gonna go over a couple things. All right, first things first, if you also check out the last upload that I did, that's a sampler of the mixtape. Okay, the mixtape dropped on this past Monday. Well, yeah, this past Monday, the mixtape dropped. Before that was early access. This past Monday, the mixtape has dropped. All right, so everybody who has donated $5 or more to the community improvement programs that KHM is involved in, as well as gifting out some of the services that we offer, right? Like debt elimination, naturopathic health consultation, cityhood planning, management, and implementation, etc. You guys, by your donations, have allowed me to assist people for free, so they didn't have to pay for assistance with certain things. It also assisted with research and development. And it also has gone towards people who are in dire need of certain things. If we have the budget for it, we assist with that as well. So I appreciate that. So that mixtape is generating that income that is doing a greater work for the community. So I appreciate everybody that got the early access donations, everybody that donated after the release of the mixtape album. So far, the reviews have been awesome, right? I haven't heard one negative review about the mixtape, right? And if y'all go and check out the last upload, you'll get a sample, 30 seconds of each songs, about 22 songs in there, and I list out the artist name, the song name, etc. Go check that out in the previous upload. And if you're interested in getting streaming access to the album, you could donate $5 to paypal.me/purpose to serve. All right, and I'll put that here in the chat. Now, also, if you want to do, while we're doing this session, if you guys want to do a super chat donation as well, and you want that super chat donation to go towards the mixtape, just after you do the donation, just send your email, post your email in the chat, and we'll make sure you get the link. All right. So you're not going to leave no Israelite behind. All right. We want everybody to actually get access to this mixtape and be able to raise these funds so that way we can take care of the community, because that's what we do. All right. All right. So that's the mixtape. So I definitely want you all to check that out. So while we're waiting, again, like I said, for the watch count to go up, typically at this time should be at almost 150. Right. So we're going to get into the dialogue. And typically when I get into the flow of things, more people start to join in. I want to give all praise to the Most High Yah, all praise to the ancestors that came before me. I want to give thanks to everybody that's in the chat that's been supporting this ministry, my day ones, and those of you who just came on today. Right. We appreciate y'all. We hope you enjoy this session. Anybody that's in the chat can tell y'all you're in for one hell of a ride. You know what I'm saying? So you can sit back. This is a family friendly show. So you can bring your kids, your grandparents, your parents, your neighbors, your coworkers, anybody you will to the session. Right. This is our mini Super Bowl. Right. When we have our engaging sessions. All right. And those of you who know that later on today, the Super Bowl airs at 6:30 p.m. The good thing is out here in Atlanta, I'm going to be linking up with KOI, and KOI is doing a viewing of the Super Bowl, and it's going to be in an Israelite environment with a whole bunch of Israelites that we're going to conscious Israelites that we're going to be socializing and fellowshipping with while the game is on. I mean, most people are not even going to be watching the game, right? We use that as an excuse to bring people in so we can have dialogue. You know what I'm saying? It's $25 at the door. Anybody that's interested, let me know, and I'll go ahead and post the poster. Matter of fact, I can post the poster. I'll post a poster because I'm gonna go through a couple of things I want to show you as well. But it's $25 at the door, and this covers food up until 8 p.m. Right? So they're gonna give you food, and this is organic vegan food, right? Really, really good food. If any of y'all been to Soul Vegetarian, you know what I'm talking about. Last weekend was the Israelite Summit, and it was from Thursday to Sunday. I was only able to make it on that Saturday. Wasn't able to make it that Sunday, Thursday, or Friday. But I'm gonna touch on that a little bit in a second. All right, I'm gonna get to that in a second. The Israelite Summit. I'm gonna get to that in a second. So I want to get these things out the way so we can go into teaching, right? But let me go ahead and show y'all this flyer. So I know some of y'all are in the Atlanta area, or some of y'all don't mind coming or driving to the Atlanta area to be around some Israelites, so that you guys can enjoy the Super Bowl while fellowshipping. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, that's where we want y'all to be if y'all going to be want to be with y'all community. You know what I'm saying? And you can use this as an excuse to do so. All right. So give me a second. Let me post it up in here. All right. So I'm going to show you those details since I'm speaking on that. Shout out to Glory Be to the Most High Forever. Thank you for the donation. Glory be to the Most High. Listen, that is more than enough, right? Your prayers on top of that, your support, everything else is invaluable. So the little bit that you give, it could be a penny. You know what I'm saying? It goes a long way, and we greatly appreciate it. So glory be to the Most High Forever. I'm going to send you the link. Please post your email so that way we can send you the link so you can stream the album. And while I'm doing a session, you could probably play the album if you want and give your feedback. Those of you, I don't know if anybody in here purchased the album, donated to get access to the album. Because it's not a purchase, and we're gonna release like real KHM Studio albums very soon, and I'm gonna be on some tracks, so y'all stay tuned for that. You know what I'm saying? But those of you who actually heard the full album, hit one and give your feedback on it. Let me know what y'all thought about it. All right. Yes, I got you, Malak. I got you. So I'm not gonna forget. I got you. All right. But those of you who actually have heard it, hit one. If you've heard the mixtape, hit one. Malak, you on it, so you don't count. The contributor artists, they got access to it. All right. So I'm gonna add you right now. Glory be to the Most High before I get started, and then show you these flyers, and we're gonna transition. All right. So give me a second. Let me link you up real quick. All right. All right, so I went ahead and sent you the link to your email. Glory be to the Most High, so you got access to it. All right, cool. Thank you for supporting. K Israel said he heard the sample. K Israel, I want you to get access to the mixtape. So if you don't mind, you could definitely donate through here or PayPal that I put up earlier, and we'll hook you up. All right. Let me put the flyer up. Malak, I'm gonna touch on your GoFundMe real quick, and then I'm gonna show a couple other things, and we're gonna transition. All right. So also, just so you know, the ground rules for the chat: there's no cursing. All right. There's no being disrespectful. And please, stay on subject. All right. If you deviate, I'm okay with that. I don't mind other independent discussions going on, but not so much. Don't make it so involved that it detracts away from the session. All right. Everybody that's been in here already, you know how we get down. You know what I'm saying? We check each other if we get out of control. So I appreciate everybody that's been here for the longest. You already know how we get down. You know what I'm saying? Again, we want to make this environment conducive to a full-fledged audience, right? From a newborn all the way to somebody that's 100. You understand what I'm saying? So we have to make sure that the chat is conducive for them to interact, and make sure the content that's coming through the live stream is also in alignment with something that is palatable for them to digest. All right. Shout out to Jaden D. Slayer YT. Peace, peace, shalom. All right. Ariyahu, yeah. So those of you who sort of heard the sample, I know you enjoyed it. I know you definitely enjoyed it. I tried to give you at least 30 seconds. It was gonna be 50. I'm like, nah, you can't tell in 50 seconds. 30 seconds. People say, oh, it should have been longer, should have been one. Well, you know, after we get enough for the community project, then in February, we're gonna you know, more than likely put it out for free. So everybody who has already donated, they actually helped and assisted with this program, right? I'm going to mention a couple of programs in a second. You know, once I get past a few things, I'm going to show the flyer. Yes, you can definitely Cash App. If you want the Cash App, I'll put it here for you. All right, here's the Cash App. Also, in the description, I have everything in there. So if you look in the description for this video, you'll have more details, right? For how to reach me on social media, where to donate to, etc. Right. So that's the Cash App right there. So I appreciate that, K Israel. Shalom to Torah 60 in the building. All right. So let me go ahead and show y'all this flyer real quick, and then from here, I'm gonna speak about my brother Malak, and then we're going to transition into what we need to get down with. All right. All right, so here it is right here. Let me go ahead and share the screen. Give me a second. All right, this is it right here. Touchdown is party time. Soul Vegetarian presents the Super Bowl party live on our mega screen. All right, and the mega screen that they have there at Soul Vegetarian, if any of y'all been out here in Atlanta, the Soul Vegetarian is where they do their live lectures, right? They also have School of Prophets, which is in a smaller room. But when they do the live lectures on their big screen, that's where they're going to actually play the Super Bowl. And this is where, that's the venue that they actually had the Israelite Summit. And that thing was jam-packed. I don't know if I uploaded any pictures on social media of it, but I can definitely show it to y'all via my phone. I'll upload a couple of images so you can see how crazy jam-packed it is. But I'm going to leave this up for a little bit, all right? So if y'all want, y'all can go ahead and write those details down. Those of you who are interested, let me just pull up some images from last week. I'm gonna show you how packed it was in there, give some feedback on that. So once I get that ready, we can get started. All right, so let me find these images. I need to upload them. Where is it at? Oh, here it is. All right, so this is it right here. Let me get these. All right. I'll put it here. All right. Okay, so that's that. Let me shut that down. My brother Malak, post your link in the chat. K Israel, I got it. So let me hook you up. K Israel, post your email in the chat. So let me go ahead and shoot you the link. Like I did, glory be to the Most High. All right. The real Dolo. I don't know if that's even a real question. Shout out to Borasta and Andrea White. Shout out to Ashan in the building as well. Thank you for joining in. I don't know the real Dolo. It sounds like you're trolling, but I mean, it is what it is, right? Shalom to my brother Smoke Dog in the building. It's good. All right. Slow Flow the God. Appreciate the donation. Slow Flow, do you want the link? Let me know. If you want the link, just drop your email address in there and I got you. All right. All right. So let me show this real quick from my brother Malak. All right, and I try to do what I can to help out our community as best as I can, even if I don't got it or we don't got it. We try to make people aware of certain things. So I'm going to show y'all this link real quick. All right. All right, so this is my brother Malak. You know, he's one of the moderators. As you can see, he's trying to raise money because there's a state of emergency financially for his home, because his wife, she was terminated from her job, you know, and she had a life-threatening illness. So things became pretty critical for him. So definitely you can just type in Conscious Israelite Artist Seeking Community Help and GoFundMe. He has a link there. You can click on it. If you guys have it to donate, please donate to the brother and help him out. He's been a great help. He's a contributing artist to the KHM mixtape as well. I have 3 tracks with him on it. You know, Keep Your Religion, RBG Hebrews, and KHM Anthem. All right. So it's good, brother. So please support him if you can, him and his family, even if it's $1. You know what I'm saying? Please send it his way. Again, he has a link in the chat, so you definitely click on it and support the brother. He's also out in Virginia. So if anybody is near Belhaven, Virginia, also reach out to the brother in the chat. And if there's anything you can do, or services or anything that you know that can help him out, please reach out to the brother. All right. Greatly appreciate that. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and transition. So again, the brother has the link in the chat, so y'all can help the brother out as well if y'all got it. All right. All right. So K Israel, let me hook you up real quick. So we can move forward. And yeah, while we're doing the session, if you want to play the music, you definitely can. Okay, there we go. All right, so I sent you the link as well. All right, so you got the link. See, I knew you was trolling the real Dolo. All right, so you're gonna be on timeout now. We gotta put you on timeout. That's what I'm talking about. Like, this is taken away from what we're about to get into. Anytime, Malak, you know I got you. All right, no problem. All right, so let's get started, family. Let me get started. I just had to time out that troll real quick. It's freaking crazy, man. Hold on real quick. I'm gonna pull out these images so you can see. Okay, so let me show y'all these pictures. You're gonna see how crowded it was at that summit. Now, let me speak on that summit while I'm doing this, right? So when I went to that summit, you know, I've been to 2 other previous Israelite summits. So I kind of had an idea of what it's going to be about. I've never seen them as packed as that. You know, Atlanta definitely is a haven for our community, and people are willing to commute and travel to Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? But I've never seen any of these Israelite summits as packed as it was in there. I mean, it was people standing up. It was like the same amount of people sitting down was almost the same amount of people standing up. It was that crazy in there. It was that crazy. I mean, a lot of people came out. And I said to myself, you know, there's a lot of my brothers that I know that are from camps, you know what I'm saying? And even though we may not agree on a lot of things, Mashara Yasharala was a bunch of elders that was putting together this committee that they had. And what they were trying to do is really build the community, right? They was talking about services that they want to offer. They was actually trying to put out or try to standardize a code of ethics when it comes to street preaching, and how you know, camps need to refrain from derogatory marks towards their own people, right? Because, and these are elders from camps. They're saying that it's detracting away from our message, who we are, what we're supposed to do, what our mission and assignment is. And so anybody that's part of this huge committee that they're putting together, they're going to have to actually abide by standardizing these code of ethics across the board. So I do credit them for that. I mean, they was offering burial services, offering to fly people to Israel to go visit to Israel, ambulance services, transportation services, trades. I mean, anything you name, they was actually talking about this at this summit to actually do. And I was like, whoa, I was like, this is real. Because I was not anticipating on that being the subject matter that was being discussed. I mean, they're talking about other things, in the midst of that, but they were actually trying to put together something of substance for the community. And y'all know that's what KHM is about. Me teaching, and defending our Israelite worldview, or trying to reconstruct or restore our culture. That's all part of the initial part of, bringing the culture to the forefront. So that way we can actually establish a community around that culture. And then from there, we could become autonomous. And the only way we can be autonomous is if you're able to provide services, goods, products, and various other things to the community. So that way the community doesn't have to go outside of itself in order to seek these reliefs or aids. You know what I'm saying? So the fact that they was talking about this, I was like, yeah, okay, because that's the end game. That's when we KHM, our end game is to create an autonomous community. So that way, when, the rest of the world is judged, right, we won't partake in that judgment, because we will simply be with one another. We will simply be relied upon each other, right? So I was thoroughly impressed because I was definitely caught off guard and was not expecting the event to be the way that it was. So shout out to everybody that came out to the event. Now I got to look for where I put these pictures. I just forgot where I put these pictures. Hold on one second. I just forgot where I put these pictures at. Let me see. That was not supposed to happen. Hold on. Oh, here it is. I found it. Nope, that's not it. Actually, it's not it. Where did I put these pictures at? All right, let me do this. Let's see if this works. Hold on. All right, no problem, Kay. Israel, I'm glad you got it. Shout out to my brother Chris, the Most High Child, in the building. Where is these pictures at, man? I think I should be able to find it like this. Actually, no. I don't know where I put these pictures at. Let me just show it to you. I'll show it to y'all just from my phone, so y'all can see it from my phone. All right. So let me turn up the brightness so y'all can see. I'm gonna show you from my phone real quick. All right, there we go. All right, so y'all take a peep at this. Y'all can see it. See all those people there? Right, and as the time progressed, it got to the point where it was like standing room only. See that? It's another shot. And this is a pretty big venue. Yeah, I mean, there's hundreds of people there, man. Hundreds of people there. All right. And here's a shot of the council leaders. All right. Then in the back, I mean, just more and more people started to show up. It's another picture of people standing up in the back. And these pictures were taken right before it got really, really, really packed. It got extremely packed. So that's that. But yeah, like I said, my review on that was pretty positive, man. I was not anticipating. The brotherhood was good, sisterhood was good. You had a whole bunch of people in there, no arguing, no fighting, no beefing. None of that was going on, man. So is extremely commendable. Extremely commendable. Right. All right. So hold on one second. All right. All right. So that's that. All right. So let me go ahead and show y'all this so you can see what it is that we offering up and what we gifting people. Shout out to my brother Ashan. Thank you for the donation. I greatly appreciate that. Ashan, if you want the access to the mixtape, just shoot your email in the chat and we'll hook you up. All right. Shout out to Mac Nass in the building. Thank you for that as well. If you guys are enjoying what you're seeing so far, definitely hit the thumbs up button. Got about 50 people in the building. Don't forget to share this link as well in groups or your page, etc. All right. All social media is bring people into the building. All right. So slow flow. Did you put your email address? Let me see. I don't see your email address. So slow flow. This type your email address in. Let me make sure we get that link to you. All right. All right. So family, let me get through. Let's move forward. Let's move forward. All right. All right. So I want to show y'all some of these things right here, so you'll see what we got going on. All right. So. All right, so this right here, this is one of the services that we offer. It's called Natural Path to Eden. All right, this is a flyer that I put together. All right, tired of Get Well Soon cards? We are too. That's why we offer Get Well Now plans, consisted of health education seminars and naturopathic regimens targeting most major diseases. Right, email us for a consultation today, naturopathiceating@gmail.com. All right, so this is the services that we offer. One of the services that we offer the community. All right, in regards to health consultation, education, and wellness. All right. Also, when we receive donations, it helps us to gift out one of these sessions to somebody that's in need that can't afford it. All right. So y'all donations do go a long way, and we greatly appreciate every little bit that we get from you guys. All right. So also, here's another service that we offer as well. All right. And this here, Bill collector harassment ruled in 2019 for you. We can help. Email us at jubileemanumission@gmail.com. So we also help with eliminating non-federal third-party debt as well. All right. So if you had a credit card, if you had a loan, anything like that that's been sold to a third party, and that third party is trying to collect, and they're harassing you via email, they're harassing you via text message, they're harassing you via snail mail, harassing you via phone calls, we can definitely assist you with that. All right. We'll do an assessment. Assessment will let us know whether or not we can help you. Then we'll move from there to a consultation. And from there, we'll move to action. All right. To get that addressed for you for the harassments, and try to put an end to that, as well as cleaning those charges off of your credit. All right. So currently we're working with 4 people right now. 4 people right now that we're working with for this. The Natural Path to Eden, we got about 6 people that we're helping with that. So it's about 10 people altogether for these services. If you want to join the referral program, let me know. You can shoot the email there as well. Referral program is if you know somebody that has a debt issue, you just refer them to that email address and have them mention your name. Okay. And what we'll do is, well, you can mention your name, but when you sign up for the referral program, you're going to get a referral code. So anytime that they email us and they give us the reference code, then you'll get 30% of whatever that transaction is for that service. Okay. The same thing applies for the Natural Path to Eden as well. If you know anybody that has any illnesses that we assist with, such as allergies, asthma, eczema, people that have hypertension, people that have diabetes, cancer, anything of that nature, we can definitely assist them. We want to educate them first on what this illness or dis-ease is. And then from there, we work towards creating an educational seminar for them, their family, or whatever the case may be. And then we create a customized regimen to reverse that illness or dis-ease, so we can bring them back to the holistic Edenic model of mankind that the Most High initiated, right? And just like the other service has to do with the Jubilee manumission. So Jubilee, we know, was a time where all the debts was cleared, right? And manumission has to do when a slave owner manumits the slave by writing a contract saying that that slave has been remitted of any charges or of any slave labor going forward. So we want to be able, via paperwork and community and correspondence with these so-called debt collectors, and free you from that, right? Because we believe that everybody in our community deserves a Jubilee. A lot of us haven't had that in forever, if we ever experienced one. You know what I'm saying? Some people may be more fortunate than others, but in Israel, this is what people experience, on a cycle basis. You know what I'm saying? So what we want to do at KHM is provide services that come strictly from our culture, cultural concepts that we manifest into actual services, so we can alleviate societal ills in the community. So we want to do our part. When you guys donate, you help to gift these services out to people who otherwise cannot afford them, right? But again, like I said, we have our referral programs. If you want to join it and just refer people to us and get 30% commission, and or if you want to be a consultant, right? We go through, give you training, right? It's a 2-week, week or two training that we give you to create you into a consultant, and then you contract with us, and then we give jobs to you that you work and you can get paid for, right? You know what I'm saying? So there's also, we open up the opportunity for people to make money in the community as well. So a lot of times when people ask for a donation or for me to donate to them or assist them, I say, hey, look, we got services. If you want, you can refer people to these services, let us process it, and you can make money that way. You know what I'm saying? So it's one hand wash the other and both hands wash their face together. You know what I'm saying? But those of you who donate, you help to gift out these services to people who otherwise cannot afford them. All right. So definitely appreciate y'all checking that out. All right. Also, for Black History Month, because this is Black History Month, right? So Black History Month, I went ahead and created a little social media. I don't know if we want to call it, it's a quotable, and a quotable, one of the quotes that I say often every time it is Black History Month is, learning Black history starts with learning why they call your history Black. And that's like one of the deepest things that, the Most High allowed me to utter out my mouth, because when you think about that, it's deep. Why? Because I don't see any other ethnic group history labeled as a perceived color of what that ethnic group is. I don't hear, this is Red History Month. I don't hear that this is White History Month. I don't hear this is Yellow History Month. I don't hear none of this stuff. But when it comes to us, it's Black history. There's something fundamentally wrong with that. And, when it comes to Black history, you have to first question, why are they calling my history Black? That goes to show you that you're dealing with a people who has lost their identity, their heritage, their inheritance, right? Their awareness of who they are, their place within the social construct and political construct of society, right? So you're talking about a lost people. And what you do is you gloss over that with the word Black. So this is extremely important for us to understand. And if I can't leave you with nothing else tonight, hopefully this quote hits home, being that it's applicable to this month being Black History Month. All right. So hopefully that helps to impact somebody out there. All right. Also, for those of you who always ask, how can they reach me on other forms of social media? All right. I posted this out on all my social media platforms. But again, to those of you on YouTube who don't have access to me on there, or whatever the case may be, I created this as well. Death to Dogma, Give Life to Culture. All right. Those of you who follow this channel, you know what that's about. And if you don't know, if you're new to the channel, just go check out some videos and you'll see exactly what this entails. All right. There's my Facebook contact, my Instagram contact, my Twitter contact, my YouTube contact. You guys should know what that is, because you're on the YouTube channel right now. And that's if you want to donate, the PayPal.me/purpose to serve. All right. I chose this picture as well because of Black History Month. because the shirt that I had on. All right. Okay. So that's that, family. Thank you for taking some time and checking that out. All right. So we definitely about to get started. Adaya Yisrael said, post that on Facebook. Sis, everything that I just showed y'all is on Facebook. So just go to my timeline, scroll down, and you'll see each one of the things that I posted there. All right. All right. So I think I got everybody on here. All right. All right, family, you're ready to get started. Let's go ahead and get started. All right, we're definitely going to get started. Definitely going to get started. All right, so let me pull this up. So now I want to show you, if you look at the description and the title, what I wanted to go over with you guys is how a hypothesis is developed, right? This is the process and methodology that I utilize in order to come with the conclusions that I share with y'all. I put it through a rigorous, extensive process before I present to y'all a conclusion or say, this is my theory on this, right? So I want to go ahead and help you guys out with that. And what kind of sparked that was a discussion that I had on Facebook that I'm about to show you guys in 1 second, right? I'm about to show this to y'all so you can see why. And what I like to do is equip y'all out there so y'all can go back and do your own objective research, right? And it turned into a discussion that I had later on, yesterday, late yesterday. I had a discussion with the Israelite brother who holds to some tenets of the Watchtower Society, which is interesting. And he looked at this post that I put about sharing how to develop a hypothesis, and he came to the conclusion that I was thinking like a European white mind, or I had a European white mindset because I was sharing how to develop a hypothesis. Then he was saying that I was unspiritual, and I was not spiritual because I'm sharing hypothesis with people. It was really a really interesting discussion. Those of you who have Facebook, you can go back to my Facebook page and check out those 2 videos. It was part 1, part 2, because his phone died twice. But it was really just eye-opening. Like somebody just attacked me because I wanted to show my community how to create a hypothesis so they can come with objective results and then use that as a means of building a foundation so that way we can better interpret the data that comes our way. You know what I'm saying? Even as with our own personal studies, right? Because we have a lot of presuppositions, a lot of opinions, as it pertains to certain subject matters. But wouldn't it be great if you can take all of those things and push them to the side as much as possible and use a process that'll help you get to the most objective point possible? And this is what helped me with my growth and development as an Israelite and getting closer to Yah. I had to put my thoughts and my ideas and my beliefs through this filtering system and be able to output these objective results that once I said, okay, my ways are not here. These objective results, I put it before Yah and I say, Yah, I pray that these are your results. And I conform to it. And guess what? I have a yield or an increase from it. So this is why I put this information out. And also so we can use an academic standard when we interface with people who are in the realm of academia that don't take our way of life and our worldview seriously. You feel what I'm saying? So he's going to get at me because I want to better equip the community so we can raise the bar, raise the standard, and do better. You understand what I'm saying? So that turned out to a really crazy conversation. But I'm not going to go into that too much. What I want to do is show you guys the conversation that prompt me to say, hey, look, let me share how to develop a hypothesis because it's necessary, right? And it wasn't just our community. I was trying to share it with another brother that wasn't in our community that was contending with our community. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to show you that in 1 second. But it's crazy that people see that as being unspiritual, as you're unspiritual because you're teaching how to develop a hypothesis to get objective results when we do our research and studies. And I was like, what? It was something else. That's all I got to say to it. All right. But let me go ahead and bring y'all to this discussion so you can see exactly what it is that I'm talking about and what actually prompted me to do that. All right. So this is it right here. Where's it at? right here. Let me zoom in. All right, so I'm going to share the screen so you can see. Let me pull this out quick. All right, let me share the screen. All right, so let me expand this. All right, so we can go through it. All right. So it started off with a sister who came onto my post. Now look at the post, just so you can see the post, right? This was the post right here, the one that I just showed y'all, right? It was on this post, right? Let me scroll down, right? So the sister came onto the post and she said, please, someone help. My 22-year-old seems to think that Hebrew was made up of white people. I tried to reference him to read certain things. He is convinced. Someone help, please, right? So family, I get this all the time. A lot of times, sometimes it may take me some time to get back to y'all. It's because I get these requests almost every week, right? Somebody either posts it on my social media, they inbox me, email me, and they always have a loved one, a son, a daughter, a cousin, a niece, a nephew, a parent, somebody who is attacking their worldview, right? And they ask me, hey, Devon, can you help? Can you help? Can you help? So I take time out of my schedule to do it because, I'm a servant first before anything else. And if we all had that mindset that we take some substantial time out to help a brother and sister in need, and we are obligated to be their keeper, we would have a much better community. You feel what I'm saying? So I said, okay, cool. I'll assist, right? So you'll go ahead and read here. I was like, does he have social media? How can I communicate with him? She said he's been listening to Young Pharaoh. I'm like, all right, I already know where he coming from. You know what I'm saying? I said, can you tag him on this post? She went ahead and tagged him. I said, is he on Instagram or Twitter? Blah, blah. Brother Kwaku said the language of people, because I'm trying to figure out what they're talking about. And then the brother shows up, right? Name's Jordan Sam. He says, I'm here. Now, family, I don't want y'all looking this brother up on social media. Do not harass him. Don't bother the brother. Please don't do that. That's not why I'm showing y'all this. It's a lot of times when I discuss this with people, I show things, people automatically get at other people. So I'm not condoning y'all to bother this brother at all, right? He's young. He's 22. He doesn't know any better. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm trying to assist, right? And I want you to be equally as respectful to the brother as well, right? So she says he's on right now, blah, blah. I said, peace, my good brother. How are you? You know what I'm saying? He says, pretty good yourself. I said, that's good, bro. If you have any questions, let me know. Then he says, Ron Shields, where do the origin of Hebrews derive from? Now, this is before y'all see how I responded, right? I said, okay, this is an individual who obviously has an issue with the Hebrew Israelite community, right? Granted, no problem. This is an individual that listens to Young Pharaoh. Okay, no problem. So I said, all right. So I'm going to respond to him in the most objective way possible. So he doesn't see any of my biases that is clouding the feedback that I'm giving him, right? I don't mind when people disagree with my worldview, but just get certain things correct first. And then you can, disagree. You know what I'm saying? But if you don't understand it holistically, then wherever you're sourcing the information from is not a valid source, right? So I was not trying to convince, persuade, proselytize, convert or do anything like that. That's not what I'm there to do. I'm there to ensure that this brother has right and exact knowledge so he can base his conclusions off of. And again, this is the dialogue that led me to say, okay, let me show our community how to develop a hypothesis. And hopefully he can use this if he happens to watch this. So that way he can get better results to argue for or against, okay? And mind you, he's probably thinking he's speaking to a religiously dogmatic, zealous Hebrew Israelite, right? But as you're about to see, that is not what he encountered, okay? But let's go into it, right? So I said, when you say Hebrews, are you referring to the people or language? Also, are you familiar with my work? If not, feel free to subscribe to my channel on YouTube. I'm sure most of your questions are already answered there, and I gave him this YouTube channel, right? He says, the people, do Hebrews follow some type of Bible? I said, wait, let me break this out so y'all can see it. Break it out. Right? I said the term Hebrew from the Semitic word Ibri is a literary term meaning one from beyond and was specifically modified to identify the ancestor of Israel called Abraham. It's patronymic, right? Patronymic, and comes from the Semitic root Eber and means the regions beyond. All right. And when you add Nahar, which means river, is you got what's called Ibari Nahar Bari or Ibar Nahar, which means beyond the river, right? This actually was applied to demonstrate that this character Abraham was an estranged settler in Canaan from the Mesopotamian Syrian region on the other side of the Tigris-Euphrates River. So I gave him a clear-cut, objective response. I didn't give him no emotional, religious babble or anything like that. And I said, and when you say, do Hebrews follow some type of Bible, are you referring to contemporary ones or historical ones? Are you talking about contemporary Hebrews or historical Hebrews, right? Because it's the big difference, right? He says, both. Do y'all follow? Now, this is what he said. Do y'all follow any type of book or faith? And how long has the history of Hebrews been around? For my personal research, only about 6,000 years, right? He meant to say book of faith, right? I said, let's expand it. I want y'all to see everything, okay? So I go on and I say to him, I say, some follow the Torah, some follow the Tanakh. Some follow the Bible. Some follow the voice of Yah after reading that material. Some is this use interdisciplinary methods of reconstructing their history so that they can re-implement their culture in modern times. Some identify as a Hebrew. Some identify as an Israelite. Some identify as a Hebrew Israelite. It depends again on who you speak to. The common denominator is that they all hold to the notion of being the descendants of the historical Israelites as depicted in historical and literary records. And then I said, as far as provenance, which means origin, that's debatable. The word for Hebrew only begins to show up in the literary record in the 4th century BCE. There is no archaeological records prior to this of a people called Hebrew or Semitic Ibri. And some people, would try to argue that and, use other notions to say, no, Hebrew, but no, Hebrew is an English word, Hebrew, right? And it went through several morphological changes before it became the word Hebrew. Right? Ibri, with the root word for Eber is a Semitic word, right? And it just means someone from beyond the region of something. You understand what I'm saying? A traveler from beyond the region. And when you add Nahar, it means river, it means a traveler from beyond the river. You understand what I'm saying? And it's the same way when we look at, those of you who live in the South with the Mississippi River, you know what I'm saying? Some of y'all live in Kansas, some of them live in Mississippi, other states, whatever the case may be. You may say, oh, that dude is from across the way, or that dude is from across the train tracks, or he's on the other side of the river, or other side of the lake, or other side of the bridge. It's the same thing. You feel what I'm saying? So I was trying to be objective, right, and give him this information. I said, now the term Israel, Semitic Israel, does show up in the archaeological record as early as 1350 BCE. The ethnogenesis of these people precede that date, and reconstructing their origin is still a discussion in academia that's unsettled, right? I said that 6,000-year idea was promulgated by James Ussher, the Archbishop of Armagh, and was used to date the earth based on the chronology of the characters in the Bible. So as you can see here, no religious babble, no dogmatic speech or trying to say, oh, I believe this. I'm giving him straight facts, okay? And this is based on, the research methodology that I utilize to ascertain these facts and be able to then interpret them, right? Because he's not going to read the primaries to get this information. I did, right? And what I'm doing is giving him the consensus, right, of what it is in academia. And this is the approach I wanted to give him. Is no emotions in here. Or anything like that, right? And this is, I believe, if we're going to be honest about who we are as a people, be able to give people the facts, and then we can then interpret on top of that, right? So he says, so basically, y'all follow the Bible and its teachings, the Bible, the Torah, and whatever other book the white man wrote are all the same, just different names and different variations of the same teachings. Can we agree? Now, what he's doing here is a logical fallacy, where he wants you to agree to terms and conditions without having him define these terms and conditions. And it's the same way with any kind of contract law. You never agree to anything you do not understand or that's not properly defined, okay? And this is what I teach my consultants when it comes to debt elimination, okay? Because everything's about contract law, right? So I'm like, okay, so he skipped through all of these details and he's getting back to the religious mindset. See, this is what he's doing. He's not trying to learn objectively. He wants to know religiously where I stand so he can bash and attack and undermine what I'm saying. So it seems as if he has some esoteric knowledge that I don't have and he can enlighten me, right? Now, mind you, he's 22. I'm in my mid-30s. The brother's 22, right? So he says, can we agree? Now, you know, I'm not going to agree to something, again, when the terms and conditions not clearly defined. So if that's all he got, I already know what direction he's going, right? So I said, okay. I say to him, that's the wrong way to interpret what I typed above. I mentioned earlier that different people subscribe to different things. I explained what the common denominator was. Now, regarding the white man writing the book, you have to substantiate your assertion. That means you just throwing something wild out there. Where is that coming from? I said, are you referring to white people translating the Tanakh from classical Hebrew and the New Testament from Koine Greek? If so, that means they did not create the text in its original language. I read biblical Hebrew, so I don't need any translations in order to determine what the text says. So it's difficult for me to agree with your premise when it's faulty. You have to define and demonstrate what you're asserting with evidence and source citation. So I'm trying to help the brother because wherever he's getting this information from, he thinks that he got it all. You're about to see. And what I'm trying to do is take the role as a teacher, right? As a younger brother, I'm trying to put him on to game. And I'm trying to say, wait, you can't just throw these wild assertions out there and not validate it, right? This may work for somebody that has a religious mindset that you're going back and forth with, but somebody that's being honest about their culture and their worldview, it's not going to work, right? Because I didn't heard mostly all the arguments out there, right? So now Dion White, he's the one that really, and shout out to Dion White. I mean, I ain't got no problems with the brother. You know, he's a good brother, but, you know, he's not with the Israelite thing and all of that. But he goes and he throws a monkey wrench in there and said, without an autographed copy, we are all just guessing. Now, again, his comment right there and interfacing with this brother, Jordan Sam, is the reason why I'm going to go over developing hypothesis with you guys before I get into Torah application and extra biblical history, right? We're going to get into that in a second. I've taught that series before, especially the example I'm gonna give y'all tonight, but some of y'all may be new to the channel, may not be aware of it, but I'm definitely give that to y'all because I always want to touch on something in Torah when I do these freestyle sessions, right? So anyway, he just threw this monkey wrench in there. What he says has I guess it's somewhat related. I don't know, but I know Dion, so I knew what he was getting at with this, right? And also going to do is fuel Jordan Sam to go in. So watch this. The agenda now is unfolding because he's young. He doesn't have the patience. He doesn't have the fortitude yet. He doesn't have the mental fortitude. He doesn't have the patience. He doesn't have the rigorous research methodology, skills, capabilities yet. He's blossoming into that. He's blooming. He's on the right path, but he's not there yet, right? I'm already ahead of the brother in regards to that path of concern. I've already, you know, blazed that trail already, right? So I already know. But then he comes out and says, I'm just going to get straight to the point. Again, he loses his patience, can't even deal with the information because it's not religious, so you can't attack it. He says, Black people, specifically Black women, were the first to inhabit Earth. Black people have a lineage that dates back easily millions and trillions of years. I don't know where he's getting this from. But then again, I do know where he's getting this from, right? We are ancient beings. Black people were on earth before Christianity, Judaism, any religion here today. Black people predate. If you don't believe me, go research 200,000-year-old African civilizations. The Hebrew language is only a couple thousand years old. It became corrupted by Caucasians and falsely plagiarized to give them the upper hand. What? Okay. And again, if y'all listen to Young Pharaoh, you know where all this information is coming from. I know. I used to watch Young Pharaoh. I've had dialogues with Young Pharaoh. But y'all about to see. This hold on tight. Let me sip some more water. Hold on, give me a second. He says Hebrews had a certain genetic structure. They did? Oh, I need to see a source for that. Because remember y'all, I went over one of my previous live streams about the DNA situation, the missing piece. the bioarchaeological DNA element. I went into that, right? I touched on that, okay? About sequencing genomes as it pertains to a true Israelite ancestor and be able to see if they're related to modern people today that call themselves Jews. We went over to all of that. But again, I had that in a presentation that I'm going to soon be sharing with a Christian audience, okay? The ones that say, oh, y'all not real Israelites and all that other stuff, right? So he says, so how could you or any one of you follows, now mind you, he doesn't even know me. But anyway, follows be a true Hebrew Israelite. Now, mind you, nowhere in that I tell him that I was an Israelite. I didn't say that anyway. He assumed, again, a straw man he is building, right? Okay. He says it's impossible due to all the genetic mixing over the thousands of years. Nobody's 100% anything due to the Caucasians trying to eradicate us as a race. That means you're not 100% anything. So you're not even 100% black. I don't know if he's aware of that. If he's aware about Neanderthal DNA, it's in most people who are non-African or not indigenous to the continental landmass called Africa. That means you have that in your DNA too, buddy. But that's fine. When I say buddy, I'm not saying that to be disrespectful. I'm saying buddy to say, hey, I'm trying to school you, youngin, because you got to slow down for a second. You're just throwing a lot of information out there. You just vomiting information. I'm like, whoa, slow down for a second. Slow down, right? So I said to him, how about we have a live discussion about this and we can both go into more detail? Let me know. Very simple, right? Then I said, Dion White, this is the wrong discussion for that dialogue, my brother. Academia does historiographical reconstruction work all the time from data that's not autographs. It's more than guessing. It's called a hypothesis. Not sure if he's aware of that. And maybe he is. I don't know. But let's keep going. I said, that's why I do interdisciplinary studies. That means if I want to learn about Israelite culture, I'm looking at archaeology, comparative cultures. I'm going to look at the literature, etc. Right? Science, anthropology, whatever the case may be. I said, you understand, I'm familiar with everything you said and have had debates with individuals who teach what you are saying. My objective is to deduce the scope of your claims to source material that substantiates it. From there, we can work inductively to conclusions. I'm going to bring out what I'm talking about in a second, family. I don't want to hold y'all too long. Unless y'all want me to go in. I got a lot of information I can give y'all tonight, but it's up to y'all. Y'all let me know if you're going to hang out with me. If you're going to share this link, what's going on tonight. But let's keep going. Dion says, just like the people is say how old the planet, they guessing. How long humans been here guessing. Who wrote the Bible guessing? Okay. And then Jordan is going to tell me, just do your research, brother. That's interesting. I did a video back in 2014 called Does the Bible, dang, I always forget the name of that title. Does the Bible explain the condition of black people in America? Something along those lines. I can't believe I forgot the name of it. But I did that video on Sonetta in 2014, and all that stuff he was saying up there, a lot of that is in that video, right? This was 5 years ago. And 5 years ago, the brother was 17. He was still in high school, right? But anyway, he jumps on and says, just do your research, brother. We are the gods and goddesses in a physical shell. I already know what he's getting at. I will never, you see the emphasis, associate myself with any religion, which is short-sighted, because we said you're not going to associate yourself with religion. What about people that are adherents to religion? Are you going to separate yourself from them too? Because then your circle is going to be extremely small. You're not going to really get anything productive done in your life if that's how you're looking at things. But again, it's going to take them time, experience, years, age to develop this, right? He said, especially Hebrews that ate their own children. No disrespect, bro. We are all on our own paths, but I know where mine is coming from and where it's going. Black people are ancient beings who have been around for trillions of years. We don't only exist on Earth, but the whole galaxy. Now, you know, I try to exercise a lot of patience, right? This is a young brother. His mother is an Israelite, and she follows my work, right? She asks somebody, hey, please talk to my son. I said, no problem. Because, you know, I have patience, right? I don't mind it. And I know the brother, he's not trying to be facetious or anything like that. He just has a lot of zeal. But unfortunately, he he's not going to engage in a discussion with me because then he's going to have to back up everything that he's saying, and he's not that prepared to do that, right? So he's making these wow accusations, wow claims, right? And again, he didn't even once ask me if I was a Hebrew Israelite, if I was an Israelite. He didn't ask me none of that. He's assuming I am that, right? But what I'm doing is I'm playing the objective role, right? I'm not taking up my position as Israel. I'm just playing the objective role here. But he's making these wild claims. He said there are books, websites, even Caucasian truth. Now, mind you, when people just make these general terms, they have no real source citations. And if they do, they're mostly fringe off the shit, right? Again, I've been down this lane before. Y'all, those of you who are in this chat room know that I interface with the conscious community daily. I speak to master teachers who put out this information, right? I've had dialogues with them. I've had debates with them. I've had conversations with them. So none of this that he's saying is brand new to me. It's new to him. So he's thinking it's new to me. And it's not. It's definitely not. All right, let's keep going. So then he posts a website called the South African. Now, the South African is a journal site. It is not a medical, a scientific site, an archaeological site at all, right? Which means it is a secondary source, okay? It is reporting based on primary research. So I already know that by him sharing that with me, I guess he's trying to tell me that there's a 200,000-year-old city, as if I don't know about Hirtho and Omo, and I don't know about those Ethiopian sites that had the earliest Homo sapien skeletal remains there. And again, that's talking about bioarchaeology. Like, this is not new to me. I'm fully aware of this. I've exhausted and went through this. The most recent out of Africa origin, the multi-regional development hypothesis. I've been through all of this. I'm aware of this information. I'm aware of stratigraphy, right? And how to look at the various layers and determine time. And I know the ethnic markers as it pertains to tools, and as it pertains to burial rites, as it pertains to cultic items, as it pertains to trades such as agriculture or pastoralism. These things are not new to me. I read articles on archaeology and anthropology all the time. That is one of my favorite subjects. I am engulfed in it, but he is not aware of this. So what I'm trying to teach him is you got to slow down, youngin. Like, just slow down. I understand you got a lot of zeal and all that, but it's cool. Just slow down. Like, let me help work you through it. Like, I'm taking my time. And at the same time, I have an antagonist in there who's in the process while I'm trying to slow it down. So I say, listen, Dion White and the barbershop scene of Facebook. Those of you who know, so I just got my hair cut. Recently, and I was in a barbershop. And those of you who go to barbershops, which I think most black males in here have gone to barbershops, y'all know when y'all kick around information barbershop, ain't nobody bringing out books and all of that. Like, y'all just talking, you know what I'm saying? Like, just throwing out assertions and stuff like that. Some of them was wild, some of them was accurate, but that's not the medium for you to actually verify and validate what is being said. So I said, in the barbershop scene of Facebook, it's called guessing because most people make unsubstantiated assertions like this brother's doing. I said, in the realm of academia, it's called presenting a hypothesis because there is data to back up their assertions. So you present your hypothesis, but your hypothesis may not always lead you to a theory, right? Because you can have a theory, you can create a theory, but you first need a hypothesis. Sometimes people stop at a hypothesis. You know, you hear things like the Oriental hypothesis, it stops at a hypothesis. The Hamitic hypothesis, it stops at a hypothesis. It cannot proceed forward to a theory because more needs to be done to move it towards that point. So even when people bring up these ideas or these arguments, I say, wait, are you aware that this is a hypothesis? It hasn't even been generated into a theory yet, because that requires more of a thorough process that it needs to undergo in order for it to move to that stage. I'm fully aware of this, but the brother, he's not. So I can tell he's undisciplined in the knowledge, okay? I say in the discipline of humanities and arts, in relation to the study of anthropology, there are a host of hypotheses because a lot of ancient history cannot be replicated today to say something happened exactly the way we interpret it. That's a fact, right? Anybody in that field can see what I just said and understand what I'm saying. He says there's plenty of data, bro. You just have to be willing to accept it. Nothing I said is false and can all be found via internet. I'm only 22 years old. I still have a lot of learning to do, but I know the truth. So how can you say you have a lot of learning to do, but you know the truth? Okay. This is what I'm saying. I work every day to substantiate what I subscribe to be the truth. And it is a journey, it is a process. I don't have all the truth, right? The way that I know things to be true is putting it through a process, right? That is void, null and void of my own personal presumptions, right? And that's how I get closer and closer to what can be established as being true. Okay. Apparently, he's made a lot of wild claims, and he's saying it could be found on the internet. This is how I know that this young brother is definitely he's not, he's not there yet. Okay. But I'm very understanding of that. I've learned from my creator to be merciful towards people, to be humble towards people, to be patient towards people. And this is a young brother who is not talking about guns and drugs and trying to be a rapper and trying to press women. So I have to be very careful because he is now putty in my hands. And whatever I do, however I mold this brother, I'm going to be judged on it, right? So I say, listen, I see where he's at, right? I understand. So I just want to see how far he's willing to have this discussion, because he doesn't want to go live. He doesn't want to have a phone call conversation, because then he's got to back everything up, right? So I said, listen, let me set an example. If anything else, that if anybody's watching what I'm doing, they can see how to best be effective, right? And again, I'm not saying anything inflammatory. I'm not saying anything derogatory, disrespectful to this brother, because I want to sincerely help this sister, and I believe he has the potential to be great, right? He just needs to know the best tools to arm himself with so he can do the best job, okay? And all older Black men should feel that way for younger Black men. And even if you're not Black, whatever you are, you should feel this way to the up and coming generation, because you have an obligation in order to show them the way, right? And to give them the tools. But don't do it in a way where you're controlling them, right? Enable them, right? Empower them, equip them, educate them, encourage them, edify them, right? Those are the 5 E's. So that way, as they're going, right, they're going to tread the same path that you went, but the tools you picked up before they even get to those points, you've already given it to them. So that way, the objective is not for them just to follow in your path, but to create or carve out a bigger, brand new path for the generation behind him. So I have to keep all of this in mind when engaging this brother. And this is how I am with almost everybody that I interface with, right? I try to be as respectful and as diplomatic and as tactful as possible, because people are watching me, whether I want them to or not, they're watching what I'm doing. And the Most High is watching me greater than anybody else, okay? So hopefully I'm leaving an example for y'all as well. This is why I try to take the objective route when I convey information based on my worldview. So even if somebody's going to argue, because I can give him arguments to argue against me, right? Because I know the pros, cons, the 2 and 4, etc., right? Or the 2, the 4 and against, etc. But I like the fact that he admits that he has a lot to learn, but you can't say you know the truth if you still have a lot to learn. You can say, I'm in the process of understanding what the truth is. The truth is not one fact, right? The truth is a multiplicity of facts, right? That could be almost infinite, right? Because we all don't have all the truth. We don't have all the facts, right? We have forms of it, right? Based on our cultural identity, right? As Israelites, we have what we say is established facts based on the literature, right? Some of us, go outside of just using the literature like me and use other disciplines that involve our culture and use that to weave together with the text to get a more broader understanding, and then use that understanding to manifest in real life so we can yield concrete results, which will align us into the will of Yah, because now we're getting the same results that those in the past before us were getting, okay? And what I want to do with this brother is be very careful, because he's delicate, right? He's delicate at this point. So now I'm really bothered by Dion. I said, so do you agree with what Jordan Sam is saying? We know where his information is coming from. And I say, young Pharaoh, it's very obvious, right? I said, Jordan Sam, listen, if you're that confident, let's have a Facebook Live discussion. It's evident you are not aware of my work. If so, then you will know I'm very familiar with what you're saying. That's why I said, let's have a live discussion. It's better than typing back and forth, right? I said, nonetheless, I give you credit for your progress as a 22-year-old. So at the same time, what I've learned as far as discipline from having children and from, trying to assist other people with their children and just having younger people that follow me. Anytime I correct somebody, and let's say the correction that I have to give somebody has to be strict, I always give some degree of praise to balance it out. Okay. Because I don't want to dig and make the wound so deep that a person cannot heal from it without giving them the salve, on top of having to break the bone, because there's a bone, right, that's broken. And in order for us to put the bone back together, we have to maybe re-break it or reset it, and in doing so, it causes pain. But in the process, we give things such as a sling, a cast, salve, so that way we can help with the healing, right? And this is the mindset that we have to have when we deal with our youth, because they're very fragile. And this society is just merciless against them, very savage towards them. You know what I'm saying? And this is a brother, I don't know him from a hole in the wall, but if he is enlightened like this, I'm sure his peers who are 22 years old is out there doing all types of debauchery, right? So I don't want to say anything that causes him to feel like, dang, I don't know nothing and blah, blah, for him to go and say, you know what, forget that and go do whatever. Especially when this is a sister who follows my work and this is her fragile son who's searching for truth, and he thinks that he can get it just by Googling stuff because he's watching young Pharaoh, okay? So let's keep going. All right. He says, Ranch, I'm good, bro. So he doesn't want to have the discussion. I'm just here typing what my spirit is telling me to. I'm not trying to discredit anything you teach or believe. It's all love, brother. And I respect him for that. He's respectful, right? Then he says, I just want my people out the shadow of the white man. Once we realize who we are and what we can do as melanated beings, we can get through this matrix and artificial living these Caucasians are trying to force us into. Gotcha. Right. And I don't, y'all know that I don't say all Caucasians is the enemy. No, the elitists are the enemy because they control everything. They use racism as a tool of divide and conquer. Okay. So I address things towards the elitists that are in control of everything. Right. They're the ones that we have to bring under scrutiny, and we have to obligate them to do righteously. Right. But I hear where he's coming from. And again, this sounds like a lot of people in the conscious community that be saying this, right? So I already know. I said, I appreciate understanding your zeal, my brother, and it's commendable. I'm not here to degrade or disrespect your information. My only objective is to ensure your conclusion is based on accurate research methodology. I said, if you decline the Facebook Live discussion, that's cool. I would, however, recommend you take a peek whenever you can at my YouTube channel. Last question I have for you is, do you follow the teachings of young Pharaoh 10, right? He says, I follow my own spirit and teaching. I use him as a guide. So he's talking about young Pharaoh. But I follow up with every bit of information. Well, you do? That's interesting. I'm not saying everything young Pharaoh says is wrong. But what I'm saying is a lot of things he's saying is extremely exaggerated, and some of it is false, okay? So I don't know how much of his stuff he's fact checking, but if he had research methodology, if he applied research methodology techniques, then he can be able to verify that. But let's keep going. He said, everything I spoke of can be found and researched by whomever. It can be found, it can be researched, but that doesn't make it true. Okay. I said, understood. And I'm not taking that away from you. Do you follow the teachings of young Pharaoh 10? And also, for the record, everything I said above can be verified by academic standards, sans, I should have said sans Google. I put sans without. That's a double negative, right? Because sans means without. Or sans Google or YouTube to be true, right? Because you can read these articles and you can get this information by going simply to a library. And I know people don't go to libraries anymore. I go to online libraries if I can. I used to go to physical libraries. Nowadays it's a little bit difficult for me to do that. But I have subscriptions to online libraries, and I get books and stuff like that I read, and articles that I read, right? So I really don't have to Google nothing. I just go right to a library, type the website in, and just access the data in the library, right? He says, yes, I do follow his teachings, and I also Google and research his teaching. Google, okay, and research his teaching. Okay, nobody's saying Google's wrong. I still use Google. You know what I'm saying? For quick searches and stuff like that. But for in-depth research, Google can only do but so much for you, right? He said, I can make hypotheses about a whole plethora of things, but it doesn't make it factual. Wow, that's interesting. He said he can make a hypothesis. I'm not going to say he can't. All I'm saying is the line of questioning and the discussion thus far, the discourse shows that he's not applying a hypothesis to anything, right? I said, okay, cool. Thanks for answering the question. A hypothesis in academia doesn't work that way. An educated guess can be verifiable and be factual. Sometimes there's missing pieces to solidify it, or the environment cannot be replicated to prove the interpretation is exact. The same goes for forensics when reconstructing a crime scene and presenting it before a court. Because again, I went to college for forensic psychology, so I'm aware of how this works, right? I said, here's a point of reference. And I gave him something from a .edu so that way he can understand what a hypothesis is, okay? Because the information he's given me has not gone through the rigorous filtration of a structured hypothesis. It hasn't. I'm going to go into details for that. I'm trying not to say too much because I want to save that for when I go into it in a moment, right? But I'm going to keep going through this dialogue. Dion says, you're going to go far in life, Jordan, Sam. Keep questioning. So he didn't correct them at all, which I was just really saddened by. I'm like, so you're not going to say, it's okay to commend him, but you also got to say, hey, some of the stuff that you're saying is just not verifiable. But Dion decided not to do that. So he's really not contributing much to this discussion, right? So I say, so he says, bro, we talking about something way more abstract than a murder scene. Glad he said that, right? Because a murder scene is concrete. Do you really believe anything white people tell you? What? They don't want us to find our true selves because once we do, they done. They want us to keep falsifying and giving pieces of our soul and spirit into something they created. Bro, it's common sense, since if blacks were here before any type of religion was born, what do you think? We worship the sun, the stars. So he's talking about animism, right? If that's what he's talking about. I'm assuming that's what he's referring to. The sun, the stars. It's not an accident that the North Star led our people to freedom from every which way. We have to stop being afraid. Before religion, we pray to the sun, the God who keeps us alive, who gives us food, water, and the center of all life. Yah could never. So the sun gives us food, it gives us water, and it's the center of all life. I've never seen nobody stand outside and eat sun rays, okay? The sun is a catalyst for other activities that occur on the earth. Without the other materials that's here on the earth, the sun would be ineffective, because the sun doesn't only shine on the earth. It shines also on other planets as well. But those planets do not have the things that we do have in the earth. And that's a totally different discussion altogether. That's geology. We're in nature. We're not going to, I didn't want to get into there with him, right? I'm trying to keep it as simplistic as possible because now he's going somewhere else, right? So, because, you know, young Pharaoh has said at some time, we can eat the sun. This is what young Pharaoh says. We can just live off simply by basking in the sun. We can live off of it, right? Okay. So let's scroll down. And it's interesting that he's saying this to me. That's why I'm like, okay, he really doesn't know. He's really not aware of what I teach, right? I said, my brother, would you like to discuss this over the phone then, if not live? This is a pretty involved conversation. I want to ensure everything is addressed appropriately and respectfully. Let me know. Again, trying my best to maintain my decorum, trying to maintain my discipline, you know, trying to maintain respect for the brother, trying to stay tactful and diplomatic, right? Because I don't want to lose the brother, okay? I said, Dion, I agree with his critical analysis and questioning, no doubt, but it's obvious that by avoiding correction on some of the claim he makes, you an acquiescence of them. Noted. Nonetheless, I appreciate the input, right? He says, it's just common sense, bro. All the ancient civilizations weren't black. They all had melanin. It's all researchable. Really? So wait, look, watch this. I could have went into the Khoisan peoples. Khoisan peoples are light like me, right? But then you have people in continental Africa in the South Sudan area that are really black and way darker than the Khoisan. The Khoisan has the greatest genetic diversity than any other people group on the planet, which means that their DNA houses the greatest variations that all other peoples can come from, right? Based on the scientific method, studying these people anthropologically, right? So He's saying melanated. And I'm saying, when you say melanated, explain that. Because, white people have melanin, right? You have pheomelanin and you have eumelanin. If he watches my material, I speak on this. Pheomelanin, eumelanin, they determine what type of melanin hues you're going to be, whether it's going to be brown, black, yellow, red, etc. Right? So this stuff I'm fully aware of, right? I teach about the skin, right? That's one of the part of Natural Path to Eden. I did a whole seminar and I posted on this page about the skin. I'm aware of how melanin works, okay? And how melanin can be damaged, right? The sun can damage your melanin, okay? But that's neither here nor there, right? And you have the second law of thermodynamics, which shows that things break down over time because of heat from the sun and other factors, all right? Because we don't live in a vacuum, okay? But that's neither here nor there. I didn't really want to go into the sun aspect or the science aspect. I was trying to keep it basic. He says, they had everything we had. The more we are in tune with the universe vibration and frequency, just think about this. If each block of the Great Pyramids weighed in over a ton, how were the pyramids built? With no cranes, no industrial machines, do you think they prayed to a god and a god lifted each individual block? I don't know who said that. I don't know who teaches that. Okay, but whatever. Or do you think Yah came from the heavens and lifted each block? But who teaches that? Nobody I know teaches that. But okay, no, bro. The Sumerians had all the planets scaled out proportional to their size, and even the planet Nibiru on their way before telescopes, NASA and ish like that. So now he's bringing up Sumerians. So now he's talking about pyramids. I don't know if he's aware of it, but there's no pyramids in Mesopotamia. You have ziggurats. There's no pyramids. Sumerians did not build pyramids. So now he's doing cultural appropriation. He's attributing the feats of the Egyptians with the Sumerians. This is incredible. But again, this is Zachariah Stitchin, Dr. Malachi Z. York, and stuff that's regurgitated from those two sources by young Pharaoh. So I already know where he's going. Some of the plant Nibiru. When I've had discussions with Nuwabians, I've called Nuwabians out on this. None of this is new to me, right? It's new to him. We are gods. We shouldn't be praying to none. We should be trying to bring out the godliness in ourselves. Black people always want to go and seek external ish. For example, if we helped and supported only black businesses as blacks, these Caucasians wouldn't be able to keep up, and the exact same goes for religion. Bruh, what do you think we doing over here at KHM? Okay. So he just went in. I let him vent. I have tough skin. It's not a big deal. Again, not to discredit you, brother, or take anything away from you. It's all love. I just hate not seeing my people at their full potential and still caught up in this white man's game. You basically still saying you're Christian. What's the difference? That's incredible, because the white Christian scholars that I've interfaced with, and y'all have seen some of this, you could just go to YouTube. They don't consider me Christian at all. In no sense of the word they consider me Christian. Okay. Dion White, appreciate you, brother. Stay positive and do your spiritual research. Dion's like, I will. So Dion is not even correcting his brother. And Dion knows half of this stuff is baloney. He knows that. But he's not going to say anything. And this is and I question people like that. That's dangerous. That's extremely dangerous. Okay. He says, when it comes to these God concepts, we should keep it private. As far as economics, that should be communal. Okay. I said, I got you, little bro. No doubt. If you don't want to dialogue beyond this commenting section, cool. I thought it would be more constructive when we could speak. It's all love, and I wanted to better address your grievances. There's nothing remotely Christian about me, and I don't believe in no spookology for the construction of the Great Pyramids. If you change your mind regarding speaking, let me know. And Dion, I agree with you, but your lack of correction concerns me. Nevertheless, peace, right? So JG jumps on it. Civilization doesn't go back 200,000 years. Anything young Pharaoh says is not based on proper research methodology. Rashid, your patience and sincerity is unmatched. I appreciate his input. I said, JD, what you said is true. And I try, my brother, because I do have a heart for the youth, and I don't want them to be steered in the wrong direction. This brother has a lot of potential. I just want to make sure he can validate his assertions, even if we disagree. That's as diplomatic as you can be. And I try to be like that. Sometimes it's difficult, and I got to bite my tongue, whatever, but I try because I love our community that much. So then he posted the same link again, twice. That's 3 times already. He says, you're right. It doesn't go back further. The Earth is millions of years old, and you believe humanity has only been on Earth for the last couple thousand years, LOL, but yet you posted this reference about 200,000-year-old city. Okay, whatever. I said the age of the Earth is estimated to be about 4.6 billion years old. Therefore, humanity is far from older than that. Homo sapiens came onto the scene around 200,000 years ago. There was no state civilizations before then. The link you shared is not a scientific article detailing the excavations of the site. We can review the method used to date it. Simply by sharing a source does not make a claim true. It has to be vetted. Nevertheless, you're on the right path. So, I do like I normally do. I show the crap test. Currency, and I've shared this on here. Currency, the timeliness of the information, relevance, the importance of the information for your needs, authority, the source of the information, accuracy, the reliability, truthfulness, and correction of the content, and purpose, the reason the information exists. I'm trying to give the brother tools to help him with his research. I'm trying. You know what I'm saying? When we got another elder on here that is just not saying nothing, it's extremely concerning, right? I said, that's the academic standard above. Methodology has nothing to do with the white man, and even most sources and articles you read are by white people. Who does he think wrote this? I wonder if he even looked at who the author was, but I digress. I said, our objective is to retrieve the data and use a methodology to obtain results void of our presuppositions to come up with our own interpretation from our black minds. Okay, young Pharaoh, most of his sources are from white people. JG says, Jordan said, in the words of Zion Lex, the origin of man and origin of civilization is two different things. And I wholeheartedly agree with that, right? He says, I agree with him questioning. It's easy to believe, and there's so many beliefs, and everyone claims to have the truth. UROB, unity regardless of belief. And I got you, but you're not giving this brother any tools so that way he could be more objective with his information. You're not equipping him. You're giving him the encouragement and empowerment without equipping him and without educating him, right? So you're leaving certain things out. I said, I agree with the unity part. So Rofe puts this up there, right? He said, that's all I care about is unity, regardless of belief. Belief been a divisionary tool, as well as politics, use of dividement. What does that have to do with this discussion? This discussion is a mother asking me to have a conversation with her son about Hebrews. Okay, and Dion White's throwing these monkey wrenches in there. And this is what he does typically, right? Ellie Harris says, Jordan Sam, then what happened, right? Shamik says, your hunger for truth will lead to the truth, even though you cannot digest the truth now. I said facts. My brother Yisha Elmore, again, that's one of the contributing artists. He did the song Autonomy on the mixtape. Shout out to my brother. He says, crazy thing is, as soon as I read the original post from the mom, I thought young Pharaoh. I mean, we already know. We are not new to this. The people that follow my page, we on to game. I said, exactly. Then I said, I can tell he's not aware of my history or my work. If so, then he would know I'm not new to this. That's why I'm giving him a pass. I just want to help elevate the brother. And look what I do. This is how you end off the post, bro. This is how you end off the post. There's a picture of me and young Pharaoh. I've spoken to this brother. I've dialogued with this brother. Come on, man. Seriously. Right? And then he just stops responding. This was over 24 hours ago. You know what I'm saying? So I said, okay, you know what? What I'm going to do is I'm going to take some time out and I'm going to go over research methodology. I'm going to show how to establish a hypothesis and just go through it real quick, right? It's getting close to about almost 2:30. So let me just help me get through that. I'm going to show you a couple of slides from this PowerPoint. It's not my PowerPoint, right? It's a PowerPoint that I borrowed. You can see where it's from, the source at the top of it, but it's an excellent PowerPoint and it explains to you thoroughly what a hypothesis is. And that is the vigorous process that I put my information through before I come on this channel and I give you guys my conclusion. Okay. And what I want to do is just put this tool in the hands of anybody that's willing to use it, who also wants to be able to come to objective results without any distractions from what they want to believe. You understand what I'm saying? Belief is fine, but certain subject matters can be established without your belief. Okay. So I'm just trying to help with that. I'm trying to do my part. Okay. With that being said, let me go ahead and transition from here now. let's go into this. Let's deal with this PowerPoint. I'm gonna go over for y'all real quick. Shout out to my brother Yafet. Thank you for the donation. I truly appreciate that. Let me see. Shout out to Sean for the donation. I think. Oh, I got you already, Sean. I appreciate that. But anyway, so Yafet, that's what I'm about to go into right now. I've been, again, those of you who follow this channel, you know, I do this all the time. If you go back to the Minority Report, I did that back in 2015. Before I even started off that presentation, I laid out research methodology. And I had to do it as an Israelite on that platform because people believe that Israelites don't do proper research, right? So I had to lay down a foundation before I even got into the information, right? So I'm going to go over this real quick with y'all, and then we're going to get into the last portion. And then if you have any questions, I'll take questions. Family, y'all hit 1 if you want me to go a little bit more. If not, I'm going to end this as soon as I do the last portion, right? But if y'all want a Q&A or whatever, or if somebody want to jump on the, you know, the discussion, whatever, and have a live discussion, let me know. If not, then I'm going to cut it short and just save up the additional information for next week. All right. So y'all hit 2 if you want me to keep going. Right. But for right now, let me bring out this presentation. Shout out to Raymond Scott in the building, Dorv L, Kazakaya, Yasharala in the building. Just looking, peace to Hera beloved. What's up, sis? Sam Bone, Cameron Branch, Shalom Yisrael. What's good? Let me see. Who else? Mr. Black Culture in the building. My brother Kwaku Danielle in the building. He saw himself on the thing. Freddie Jackson was good. Mr. Casanova, 1911. D.Ya Zion in the building. Africa's finest. Let me see. And I think that's everybody. Anthony Harris, what's up? Mona Breakley, Gamiel, Padilla, the Rubinite. Shout out to all of y'all. Thank y'all for joining in. Shout out to Mike Prayon in the building. Cheryl. All right, appreciate it. All right. Thank you, Van Coates. You want me to take my time? All right, I got y'all. All right. So let's go through this hypothesis. And again, today I had a discussion on, shout out to Don Terry in the building. I had a discussion with a brother earlier today that told me that I was thinking like a white European mind because I'm sharing how to develop a hypothesis with the community because, you know, he says relating that to the Bible somehow. I don't know where he was going at. Then said that I was unspiritual. And I said, are you familiar with my work? He said, yes. So I said, if you're familiar with my work, then, I mean, what parts of, I mean, do you not see nothing spiritual? The stuff that I teach? I've done countless lectures and I put out countless spiritual information, but then I also put out countless academic information, right? I tried to be a Swiss Army knife, right? And put myself in the hands of others so they can get the job done at my expense. I have no problem with that. Losing sleepless nights doing this research to bring this information to the forefront to uplift, empower, and equip our community. That's my obligation, okay? I didn't ask for this role. I never envisioned myself doing this. The Most High placed me here to do this, right? And even, I would say monthly, I try to avoid it, right? Because it becomes overwhelming at times. But the Most High always sets it up so that way I'm eased into it. So I know I have an obligation to the youth, and I want to make sure the youth have the tools. I'm not asking nobody to agree with me. I'm saying, listen, if this is the subject matter, this is the approach that I took here. Tools, take the same approach. Let me know if you come to the same conclusion, or if you come with something different, share with me. After we've gone through the rigorous process, share with me and let's discuss it, okay? And again, I don't hoard anything to myself. I give my sources out to y'all, give my processes and methodology out to y'all. I give it freely. You understand what I'm saying? I give it because I want to equip y'all. All right, so we're gonna go into this real quick. So let me bring this up. Let's deal with it. Where is it at? Here it is. All right. So I'm going to put this on the screen for y'all. We're gonna go over this real quick. All right. Hopefully this can help somebody. Don't mind the child sleeping in the background. Whoops. Didn't mean to do that. Hold on real quick. There we go. Boom. All right. All right, so we're going to go over this. Give me 1 second. All right, so what we're seeing here is called Developing Hypothesis and Research Questions. All right, 500 Research Method. This is created in September 18, 2001 by Shalini Prasad, Jeet Rao, and Ishu Rahani, right? So we're going to go over this real quick, right? So this is laid out with the introduction, processes involved before formulating the hypothesis, definition, nature of hypothesis, types, how to formulate hypothesis in quantitative research and qualitative research, testing and errors in hypothesis, and summary. Okay, so look at this, extremely important. The research structure helps us create research that is quantifiable, verifiable, replicable, and defensible. Quantifiable has to do with its size. Verifiable has to do with its not its quality, but verify has to do with its validity as far as being true, right? Replicable is something that you can continue to repeat it and get the same results. And defensible is that once you do the first three, now you can defend it, right? Now you can write a dissertation, okay? Corollaries among the model, common sense, and paper format, right? Now, the model starts with the research question. The research question always is the why. Why is this? Why is that? It is always your intro, okay? Then you develop a theory, an idea, right? That's your answer to the why before you do the research, okay? Based on whatever presuppositions you already have. That is also part of the intro. Now, when we get into the method, it's identify variables. So aside from your answer, are there other answers to the why question, right? And if so, how did they come to be? The common sense is how. That's part of the method. Then you identify a hypothesis, which is your expectations based on all this data here. And then what you do is you test the hypothesis by collecting and analyzing the data so you can yield results. When you look at any kind of research article from academia, you'll see how they set it up from the abstract to the body, to the conclusion, to the methods, to you see all of this in research papers. Now, I read research papers every week. I try to read at least 10 research papers every week, right? Then you evaluate the results. And that is, what does everything mean after you went through all of this? That's part of your conclusion. And then you give a critical review of what you presented, and that's what it doesn't mean. Got to be honest about that too. And that also goes into your conclusion. All right. This is how the paper format should look when you do your intro, your method, your results, and then your conclusion. It's based on the common sense parts here and then the models right here that you got to apply. Okay. So you have to use common sense, and common sense helps you to develop your model, which then leads to the paper format once you put everything down after you've gone through the draft of the research methodology. All right. Let's go to the next page. Most research projects share the same general structure, which could be represented in the shape of an hourglass. The hourglass notion of research: begin with broad questions, narrow down, focus in, operationalize, observe, analyze data, reach conclusions, and generalize back to questions. It's a repeatable process to refine your research. It's self-explanatory. Begin with broad questions, why, and narrow the why down to how and where, what, etc. Operationalize it. Now go through a process. While you're going through the process, observe everything, analyze the data, then make conclusions, and then you generalize everything. Now you've deduced it, you generalize everything, and you go back to more questions. And you keep repeating it until you refine it into a defensible, fortified argument. Okay? Some of the methods that are included for research formulation are: where does the problem originate or discovery begin? Previous experience, triggered interest, or potential problem fields. I do all three. Criteria of problems and problem statement, goals and planning, search, explore, and gather the evidence, generate creative and logical alternative solutions, making the educate, guess, or the hypothesis. Now, you saw what Dion says. Oh, it's all guessing. If you look at this process, this is like somebody just simply guessing something. That's not how it works in academia, and I'm trying to tell people that. But nevertheless, I digress. Let's keep going. Definition of hypothesis. Hypothesis are single tentative guesses, good hunches assumed for use in devising theory or planning experiments intended to give a direct experimental test when possible. Hypothesis is a conjectural statement of the relation between two or more variables. Hypothesis is a formal statement that presents the expected relationship between an independent and dependent variable. A research question is essentially a hypothesis asked in the form of a question. All right, so follow me, family. Let's keep going. It is tentative prediction. Hypothesis can be defined as tentative explanation of the research problem, a possible outcome of the research. As always, in a declarative statement form, and any that they relate either generally or specifically, variables to variables, etc. Right? The nature of hypothesis. The hypothesis is a clear statement of what is intended to be investigated. It should be specified before research is conducted and openly stated in reporting the results. This allows to identify the research objectives, identify the key abstract concepts involved in the research, identify its relationship to both the problem statement and the literature review. A problem cannot be scientifically solved unless it is reduced to hypothesis form. Keep that in mind. It is a powerful tool of advancement of knowledge consistent with existing knowledge and conducive to further inquiry, okay? It can be tested, verifiable, or falsifiable. Either it's real or it's fake. Hypotheses are not moral, ethical questions. That's why when I give objective data, people say, oh, well, what's your opinion? What's your view? I'm just giving you the data. I'm just giving you the conclusion. It's up to you to derive what moral, ethical application that it has in your life. It is neither too general or too specific. It is a prediction of consequences. It is considered valuable even if proven false. Okay. Here's an example. You are a nutritionist working in a zoo, and one of your responsibilities is to develop a menu plan for the group of monkeys. In order to get all the vitamins they need, the monkeys have to be given fresh leaves as part of their diet. Choices you consider include leaves of the following species: A, B, C, D, F, A, B, C, D, and E. You know that in the wild, the monkeys eat mainly bee leaves, but you suspect that this could be because they are safe while feeding in bee trees, whereas eating any of the other species would make them vulnerable to predation. You design an experiment to find out which type of leaf the monkey actually liked best. You offer the monkeys all 5 types of leaves in equal quantities and observe what they eat. There are many different experimental hypotheses you could formulate for the monkey study. For example, when offered all 5 types of leaves, the monkeys will preferentially feed on bee leaves. Okay, why? It says this statement satisfies both criteria for experimental hypothesis. It is a prediction. It predicts the anticipated outcome of the experiment, and it's testable. Once you have collected and validated your data, i.e. observations of what the monkeys eat when all 5 of the leaves are offered, you know whether or not they ate more bee leaves than the other types. Incorrect hypothesis would include when offered all 5 types of leaves, the monkeys will preferentially eat the type they like best. This statement certainly sounds predictive, but it does not satisfy the second criteria. There is no new way you can test whether it is true once you have the results of your study. Your data will show you whether the monkeys preferred one type of leaf, but not why they preferred it. I would, in fact, regard the above statement as an assumption that is inherent in the design of this experiment rather than as a hypothesis. You have to be able to differentiate between assumption and hypothesis. And a lot of times people don't know how to do that. And it's okay. These types of teachings help with that. When offered all 5 types of leaves, the monkeys will preferentially eat bee leaves because they can eat these safely in their natural habitat. This statement is problematic because its second part, because they can eat these safely in their natural habitat, also fails to satisfy the criterion of testability. You can tell whether the monkeys preferentially eat baobab leaves, but the results of this experiment cannot tell you why. In their natural habitat, howler monkeys that feed in bee trees are less vulnerable to predation than monkeys that feed on A, C, D, and E. Those are the variables, okay? This is a perfectly good experimental hypothesis, but not for the experiment described in the question. You could use this hypothesis if you did a study in the wild looking at how many monkeys get killed by predators while feeding on leaves of A, B, etc. However, For the experimental feeding study in the zoo, it is neither a prediction nor testable. Why? Because you're not in a wild environment. When all 5 types of leaves, which type will all monkeys eat preferentially? This is a question, and questions fail to satisfy criterion 1. They are not predictive statements. Hence, a question is not a hypothesis. Oh, we're guessing. I'm guessing. No. Let's move forward. 2 types of hypothesis: a null hypothesis designated by H0 or HN, pronounced as HO or H null. Alternative hypothesis designated by H1 or HA. Okay, the null hypothesis represents a theory that has been put forward either because it is believed to be true or because it is to be used as a basis for argument, but has not been proved. Has serious outcome if incorrect decision is made. The alternative hypothesis is a statement of what a hypothesis test is set up to establish. That is what I use, okay? It's the opposite of the null hypothesis, only reach if H0 is rejected, and frequently alternative is actual desired conclusion of the researcher, okay? Example, in a clinical trial of a new drug, the null hypothesis might be that the new drug is no better on average than a current drug. We will write H0. That equates to there is no difference between the 2 drugs on average. The alternative hypothesis might be that the new drug has a different effect on average compared to that of the current drug. We will write H1 as the 2 drugs have different effects on average. The new drug is better on average than the current drug. We will write H1, the new drug is better than the current drug on average. Keyword is on average. That means that not in every case scenario that occurs. There are different variables that can affect how the predictions are made and how to anticipate the results. We give special consideration to the null hypothesis. This is due to the fact that the null hypothesis relates to the statement being tested, whereas the alternative hypothesis relates to the statement to be accepted if when the null is rejected. The final conclusion, once the test has been carried out, is always given in terms of the null hypothesis. We either reject H0 in favor of H1 or do not reject H0. We never conclude reject H1 or accept H1. If we conclude do not reject H0, this does not necessarily mean that the null hypothesis is true. It only suggests that there is not sufficient evidence against H0 in favor of H1. Rejecting null hypothesis then suggests that the alternative hypothesis may be true. Formulating a hypothesis is important to narrow a question down to one that can reasonably be studied in a research project. The formulation of the hypothesis basically varies when the kind of research project conducted is qualitative or quantitative, right? It can also be divided into the following. My preference is the inductive approach, but in certain instances, I also use the deductive approach. Deductive approach is you go through observation of things, you look for the pattern, get a tentative hypothesis, and work that to a theory. Inductive methodology is you have the theory, you work it into the hypothesis, and then you add the observation, and then you confirm or reject what the theory was to begin with. All right. Qualitative approach characteristics: use of words, what or how, specify whether the study discovers, seeks to understand, explores, or describes the experiences. Use of non-directional wording in the question. These questions describe rather than relate variables or compare groups. The questions are under continual review, and reformulation will involve and change during study. The questions are usually open-ended without reference to literature or theory, and there's a use of a single focus. The rules of qualitative research. Rule 1 refers to the subject or researcher. Rule 2 refers to the object of study. Rule 3 refers to the action in relation to the subject of research, hence to collect data. Rule 4 refers to the evaluation of information gathered, hence to data analysis. Always remember, when you do qualitative research, these are the 4 major rules, and it's extremely important to understand that, right? Now, quantitative data or the approach is different. In survey projects, the use of research questions and objectives is more frequent. In experiments, the use of hypotheses are more frequent. They represent a comparison between variables and the relationship between variables. So typically what I do the qualitative research first, and then I work my way to the variables, right? Characteristics: the testable proposition to be deduced from the theory, independent and dependent variables to be separated and measured separately, to be either writing questions or objective or hypothesis, but not a combination. Consider the alternative forms of writing and make a choice based on the audience for the research. Y'all are my audience, okay? The generation of research hypothesis. This chart right here, not chart but diagram, is extremely important. You start with the initial ideas, often vague in general, and you're either going to go one of two ways. Either you're going to go to initial observations or search for existing research literature, right? From there, you work towards a statement of the problem and either go straight down to the research hypothesis, which is a specific deductive prediction, or go through another method, which is the operational definitions of the constructs of what you're researching. So once you obtain that data, then you can work your way to the research hypothesis. Problem statements become research hypotheses when constructs are operationalized, which means you put it through the process. All right. Here's some examples. I'll leave that there. You can always go back to the video, pause it, and look it up yourself. Here's some questions about the hypothesis in relation to these equations here. All right. Testing and challenging. The degree of challenge to the hypothesis will depend on the type of problem and its importance. It can range from just seeking a good enough solution to a much more rigorous challenge. And that's what I tell you all the time. To me, these things are a challenge, right? I enjoy it, right? The term challenge may include verification, justification, refutability, validity, rectification, repeatability, falsification. There are two possibilities. Nothing happened, the null hypothesis, or something happened, the alternative hypothesis. Hypothesis is a four-step procedure: stating the hypothesis, the null alternative, setting the criteria for decision, collecting data, and evaluate the null hypothesis, whether it's legit or not. Okay, and it also goes into the errors in the hypothesis. There's two types, right? Type 1 and type 2. If you look right here, it shows you. A small example is at the top, your actual health, and on the left, what the doctor says. And if the doctor says you're sick and your actual health is sick, then you are sick. The doc confirms it and it's right. But if your actual health is well and the doctor says you are sick, you got scared for nothing. It's wrong. It's a type 1 error. If the doctor says you're well, but your actual health is sick, then the doc missed your real illness. It's a wrong type 2 error. But the doctor says you're well and your actual health is real, you're really not sick. Okay? Type 1 error. A type 1 error occurs when the null hypothesis is wrongly rejected. For example, a type 1 error will occur if we concluded that the two drugs produce different effects when in fact there was no difference between them. You got to rule that out first before you go to the alternative. A type 2 error occurs when the null hypothesis is not rejected when it is in fact false. A type 2 error will occur if it were concluded that the two drugs produce the same effect. That is, there's no difference between the two drugs on average when in fact they produced different ones. All right, here's another thing for you to look at to generalize it. Here's the summary and we're done. Research questions and hypotheses become signposts for explaining the purpose of the study and guiding the research. A hypothesis is an explanation, tentative and unsure of itself, for specific phenomena about which you have questions. A well-crafted hypothesis very often suggests the best way to perform the research and gives you clues as to your research design. There are different types of hypotheses: deductive analysis and inductive analysis. Research hypothesis can either be a non-directional or directional, which we saw from the diagram. There exists a hypothesis that is opposite of the positively stated one, i.e. the null hypothesis. And the last question from Fred Kerlinger is, thus to conclude, it would be very fitting to say, hypothesis is perhaps the most powerful tool man has invented to achieve dependable knowledge. Now, if you look at the academic standard for hypothesis, is this simply merely barbershop guesswork? Or is there a rigorous process that goes through this? You be the judge. So when I hear people talk about this stuff, it becomes very bothersome because I'm like, you're not even giving this brother these tools, so that way he can refine his research methodology. But it is what it is. I digress. Shout out to Tim Lindley. Thank you so much for the donation. We greatly appreciate that. It's definitely going to go towards a great cause. Cameron Branch said, thanks for the free game. No doubt. You know I got y'all. And I'm saying, I tell people all the time, you know, the KHM channel may not be for everybody in the Israelite community. It may not. But for those of you who are really diligent in your study and you want to get deep, we get deep. All right? We get really deep. And I guarantee once you wrap your mind around the information and you apply it, you're going to yield results like no other. And that is what we want to do. We want to be able to carve a niche so that way we have something unique that we can provide to the community. And this is just the research aspect, right? Research and development aspect. The community building and the autonomy implementation is like the end game levels. You know what I'm saying? That's like the next. This stuff I'm doing here, this is just, you know, research, right? The end game is creating an autonomous community That's the end game. But it works first by understanding these things. If you don't know these basic things, you cannot have an autonomous community. You understand what I'm saying, family? All right. Hopefully that helps. Hopefully that does help somebody. All right. Shout out to Out the Blue. I appreciate that. All right. So let's take a look. All right. So let's get to the last thing I want to discuss tonight. And I'm done. Okay. I'll see if y'all have questions. If I have time to answer it for y'all, I'll address it. But let me get into the last point that I want to make tonight. All right. It's a three slide PowerPoint. It's not even that deep. But let me get into it real quick. I wanted to show it to y'all. So give me 1 second. All right. All right. This PowerPoint is called Torah Application and Extra Biblical History. Okay. Now, why am I showing this to y'all? The information contained in here, I have mentioned it in previous lectures and live streams, etc. Right? But I'm gonna bring it up again because I believe it's extremely relevant, and I'm probably gonna do a series on this. If y'all want a series on this, hit one. Hit one if you want me to do a series on this. Matter of fact, just wait for me to get through it, then you can hit one. All right. Now, the reason why I'm gonna give you an explanation as to the reason why I'm giving a declarative statement. Right. The reason why I've constructed this type of research that I'm showing y'all is because you'll hear a lot of people that say that the Bible's fake, the Torah's fake, the Tanakh is fake, it's not real, it's just literature, etc. So what this does is that this actualizes the data that is contained in the literature. So that when people come and they say, oh, that is fake in there, nothing's real in there, that's made up, and this and that, and it's all metaphysical, and it's all philosophical, and it's all, then we got to see it in action, right? Now, there's a lot of examples of Torah application, extra biblical history. And again, if y'all like this, you got to hit one, and I'll do more of this, right? But again, what this does is that this puts the burden of going forward on the naysayers. Because once we start to show evidence after evidence after evidence after evidence, and the archaeological record of Torah and application, what is going to be the next excuse? The objective is to handicap and nullify your enemy from weaponizing any kind of information against you by rebutting or refuting it. The best thing you do is refute it, and at the very least, rebut it. So what I want to do is when people say that us using Torah is all abstract and metaphysical, like it wasn't being used in a real life scenario, this series is going to address that. So I'm just going to show you this 3 slide. This is slide 1. There's actually only 2 other slides. I'm going to show this to y'all, and then I want to know if you want me to continue this as a series, okay? And again, y'all can use this to equip yourselves against the naysayers that say the Torah is fake, the Torah is made up, the Torah is, well, obviously it is, man. Somebody did make it, right? The Torah is not real, the Torah is not historical, whatever the case may be. We're going to prove them wrong, all right? So let's move forward. All right. Here we have Shemot, or Exodus chapter 22, verse 26 and 27. If you take your neighbor's cloak and as collateral, return it to him by sunset, because his cloak is the only covering he has for his body. What else will he sleep in? And if he cries out to me, I will hear, for I am compassionate. Okay? So what you're seeing in the background, an image in the background, is that of the Nash Papyrus. Okay? And the Nash Papyrus contains the 10 Commandments and another portion of the scriptures in it. I chose it because it looks really nice. I'm into stuff like that. But nonetheless, it is a Hebraic text that dates back to 150 CE, if I'm not mistaken. 150 CE or BCE. It escapes you right now, which is crazy because I know this stuff, you know what I'm saying? But I'm getting tired. But nevertheless, here we have a precept in Torah, right? If you take your neighbor's cloak as collateral, return it to him by sunset, because his cloak is the only covering he has for his body. Now, what does this mean, right? You got to understand cultural context, etc., right? So we have a situation where you would have people that would own land, and they would have, crops on that land. Okay. And it can also be any other kind of trade, but I'm using agricultural trade for right now. If you was hired in Israelite times, back in the Iron Age period, if you was hired to perform a task, you would get paid the same day you do the job. Okay, that's Torah. When somebody works for you, you have to pay them that same day for their work before the sun sets. They must get their payment. So if they're working during normal business hours in antiquity, which would be from sunrise to sunset, all the work that they perform, they are to be paid that same day. If you don't have the funds to pay them, then you should not be hiring to work for you. That's number one. Number two, there were verbal and sometimes written contractual agreements on the quota that is supposed to be met by that hired servant. Otherwise, either he does not get paid or he won't get paid the total amount. And if he doesn't get paid, and let's say that quota has to be met that he has contracted for, that he promised that he would perform, then collateral has to be given to the employer, right, from the employee, so that the employee has an incentive to fulfill his quota. And in those times, a cloak would be given. Okay. So it says, okay, so let's say the day prior, that particular employee did not complete his quota, right? The next day, when the workday began, you are able to take his cloak. Now, that employee does not want to be bare in the environment without a cloak. Okay, you definitely do not want to work that way, right? So it is an incentive for him to meet his quota. So not only will he be able to get his cloak back as collateral, right? And this also works for people who are indentured servants, right? Sometimes they're not even getting paid, but they're working off a debt that they owe, okay? But holding the cloak was the incentive for that worker to perform his task and complete his quota. But the Torah says he has to be given back this cloak before the sun sets, so he will have something to sleep in. So there is a limitation that is placed upon the ethics of how employers are to treat their employees. It is right in Torah. Now, for somebody who clowns the Torah, if you look at this custom, this is extremely deep, and it works. It works in favor for both the employer and employee, right? Most High says, what else will he sleep in? And if he cries out to me, I will hear, for I am compassionate. So now we know that if you decide that you're an employer and you're going to take his coat and not give it to him after the sun sets, and he cries out to the Most High, you know how he cries out? Not just praying, but going before a judge and an official, and getting a judge and official involved to hear his case. So when you see this, could there be a real life example of Torah in action, extra biblically in history? Of course there is. Of course there is. All right. So let's say this. Well, let me get into the next slide, and then I'll give the life application today. Right. So I don't know if y'all can see this or not, if it's small, but I'll go ahead and read it. Here's a book called Old Testament Parallels, right? Laws and Stories from the Ancient Near East by Victor H. Matthews, Don C. Benjamin, newly revised and expanded second edition. This is a great book, great reference material, right? So I pulled it out of this book that I have, okay? Even though you can see this Masad Hashav Yahu Astrakhan, or the Yavne Yam letter, you can see this in academic articles, okay? You can look it up. You can find it in academic articles. But I'm going to read this to you, okay? Little remains of Hebrew manuscripts and writings, because most of them were written on perishable materials such as papyrus or parchment. So if anybody says, oh, where's the autographs and how come we don't got it? You got to simply know science. And you can break this down to them. Very simple. One nearly indestructible medium remains in fairly large quantities. Many short lists, notations, and letters were written on ashrakah or broken pieces of pottery. Those of you who follow me on this channel, I've talked about astrakhan a lot. okay? And some notable Astrakhan letters that we know about that I've mentioned on here is the Telerad letters and Lachish letters, all right? You can go back and look those up, all right? It says the Astrakhan was always at hand, and messages could either be scratched or written on them with ink. So remember, the Astrakhan is a piece or a pot shard, okay, a pottery shard. That means somebody had a piece of pottery, it broke, so that way they had it for secondary usage. They would turn it over to the rough part, which is the inside part of the pottery, and they would use it to write a letter on, okay, or notations or short lists. We see the Samaritan Astrakhan, they have short lists on it, etc. And again, all of that is coming from Torah. So again, if you're like this, I'll do a whole series on this, right? But let's keep going. They give us a record of the development of Hebrew script and grammar and are a wealth of personal names. Just before 600 BCE, a farm worker sent a short message to the governor of the coastal region of Judah on an Astrakhan 8 inches high and 7 inches wide. This large Astrakhan was discovered by J. Nave, an Israeli archaeologist, in 1960. It was in the guard room of the gate in a small fortress 5 miles northwest of Jamnia and 2 miles south of the Wadi Reuben, right? Nahal Sorek. The Yavne Yam letter was probably dictated to a professional scribe, especially if you have somebody that's working in the field. They're more than likely they were not a scribe, and or they probably wasn't that literate, right? So they hired a scribe or got a scribe to write it for them, or when they go before the governor or a judge, the governor judge would get a scribe for them, and they would write their case on a potsherd, parchment, or whatever, and they would submit that to the court, okay? The Yavne Yam letter was probably dictated by a professional scribe. It is written in cursive style and contains a formal address in the first 2 lines, which was standard. We get an example of that in 1 Samuel chapter 26, verse 19. Again, pre-exilic customs. The farm worker is asking the governor for the return of his outer garment, which was unjustly taken from him by an official. The garment has served as collateral to ensure that the man will complete his work that day. However, by law and as a humanitarian gesture, it was to be returned to him at the end of the day. Otherwise, he would be left to shiver through the night and would be relegated to the status of a slave instead of a free day laborer. And if this is a fellow Israelite, you cannot treat them like that. Parallels to the Yavne Yam letter appear in the book of Exodus, chapter 22, verse 26-27, which I just read for y'all, in the book of Amos, chapter 2, verse 8. And the actual letter reads, "Let my lord the governor pay heed to the words of his servant. Your servant has been harvesting at Hassar Assam. The work went as usual, and your servant completed the harvesting and hauling which I was assigned. Despite the fact that your servant has completed his assigned work, Hoshi Ahu, son of Shobai, came and took your servant's garment. All my fellow workers will testify. All those who work in the heat of the day will surely certify that I am not guilty of any breach of contract. Please intercede for me so that my garment will return, and I will, as always, do my share of the work. The governor should see to it that the garment of your servant is returned, and that no revenge be taken against your servant, that he not be fired." And there we have an example of Sankofa, right, which is the bird looking back. All right, typical Philistine pottery from the coastal plain of Palestine, showing a bird looking backwards. Yavne Yam is located in this area. So here we have the actualization of the literature of Torah. So when people tell you, oh, this thing was written, now you have evidence. So I hope y'all enjoyed that. It was a very short PowerPoint. But if y'all are interested in, me doing a series on this, hit one. Hit one if you're interested in me doing a series on this, okay? Just hit one. All right. So with that, I'm glad y'all, hope y'all enjoyed the session. I'm going to end it because so far it's been extended pretty at length. It's been about 2 hours, right? So I want to cut it short. If y'all want me to do a series on it, hit one if you want me to do a series on it. And I'll go ahead and work forward in doing a series. Shout out to Jay Lockhart 25 in the building, PJ Trumpet in the building. All right, so y'all like that? All right. So I'll go ahead and do more because I have tons of those. I go do archaeological articles, like I said, weekly, right? I read them. I try to retain as much information as I can in my mind, or I'll file them so I can get it if I need to reference it or whatever the case may be. But I thought that would be pretty neat for y'all to have as I'm equipping y'all. I went over with y'all how to develop a hypothesis, what it is, how it works, etc. We went over Torah application, extra biblical history to help solidify your faith in the text. And what I want to leave y'all is this. If something is ever borrowed from somebody, be diligent enough to give it back. It's that simple. It's a very simple principle because you never know how valuable that thing is to the person who you're borrowing it from and when they may need it, right? And sometimes we become negligent when it comes to borrowing something that is not ours. So sometimes we may not even treat it the way the owner would treat it. So if you've borrowed anything and you said that you will give it back to somebody, keep your word and give it back. All right, it's not yours. And if it's lent to you, that means you're borrowing it. That means it's for a specified period of time. Give it back. It's a very, very simple principle that we see in Torah that's actualized in an archaeological record that we can then apply today. All right. So I hope y'all enjoyed that. I hope you appreciated that. Cameron Branch, excellent question. My next live, I'll give you a couple of sources on that. So you can go and look up scholarly research. Now, some of these sites I've paid for, right? I pay for them. So, you know, I get access because I pay monthly for them, right? Also, another place you can get articles, scholarly work is academia.edu. I also, or ResearchGate, right? So you can go to ResearchGate. Matter of fact, I can show these to you real quick. You can go to ResearchGate and you can go to academia.edu, right? And I'm going to show y'all these two sites. Hopefully this will help somebody. All right, hold on. Right, here's the first one, ResearchGate. All right, www.researchgate.net. All right, sign in, join up. If you want to do paid, you can, which I would recommend. And you get access to a slew of articles and publications you can discuss. You can even submit work. Okay. You know, you can even download the app too. You know what I'm saying? But it's excellent. It's an excellent site. All right. That's the first one. The second one that I recommend is this one here. Is academia.edu. Okay. Here you can get a slew again of research papers. All right. All right. All right. So hopefully that helps. Hopefully that helps. All right. There's other sites too. Like I'm signed up for other sites. Another place is JSTOR. You can go to JSTOR and get some articles as well. But there's also academic sites for certain universities that you can sign up for too and pay to get access to their library. I'm signed up for Emory University and a couple of other ones as well, like St. John's University, Rutgers University, etc. All right, so hopefully that helped with y'all, help answer that question. Shout out to my brother D-Red in the building. Jay Lockhart, post your email. Let me grab that real quick and get this over to you. Habala, M-O-H-A, I appreciate that. Bor El Rasta, I don't know. In communication with the brother. Yes, University of Chicago as well is another great site to go to get documentation. I'm signed up for several courses there. I mean, that's like my go-to, the Oriental Institute of Chicago. I love that place. You want to do real research in the ancient Near East studies, that's the best source to go to. All right. All right. So hopefully that helps. J Lockhart 25. I'm going to keep this live going until you put your email in the chat. All right. Let me give you this link so you can enjoy this. All right. All right. So thank you for that. Yafet, that's an excellent question. Let's save that for the next discussion and I can go into detail. What you can do, Yafet, email that to me. I'll put the email in there. Again, I don't really have to put the email in there. Anybody wants any contact information, donation information, any of that, look in the description. All right. Description box. has all those details in it. All right. So your emails is on there, everything like that. Yes, Yale does as well. Just Looking. Now, the brother Just Looking is now part of the research team. I didn't even give him the news yet, but I spoke with KHM members and we all agreed to bring him aboard. So he's definitely going to help us out with research, right? The brother's really good at what he does too. All right. So anyway, J Lockhart 25, please place your email so I can end this session. I hope y'all enjoyed what y'all just peeped today. Hopefully it can be of some value to y'all. Thank you for your time. The last thing I want to share with y'all before I leave, as I'm killing time, waiting for J Lockhart 25 to put his email in there. I'm going to give it to y'all real quick. So just give me 1 second. Micah as well. Hold on, family. Here it is. I want to bring this up because I want to show this to y'all real quick. All right. I'm definitely going to put this link in the chat because this is extremely important. Black Ad, I started on that. I didn't finish that. So I got to follow up with you on that so that way we can go in more detail and help you ascertain that, all right? J Lockhart, just type your email again if you don't mind. Because I might have missed it because of me sharing information. So if you don't mind, just you probably sent it with the donation, but if you don't mind, can you just place it here? And I'll go ahead and do that for you real quick. All right. But yeah, I got you, Black Av. I got you. All right. So all right. So I post the link into the chat. I want everybody to click the link if you can. I posted it in the chat. Let me post it again in the chat. I'll post it again in the chat. And I'm going to explain to you guys what this is. All right. Why is this not posting? What's going on? Okay, for some reason, it's not letting me post in my own chat. That's truly incredible. Let me try this again. I don't know what's going on. It's not allowing me to post. So let's do this. Let's do this. I'm just going to show y'all the page. All right. And I'll put the link also in the description box after the session is over. All right. Now, let me preface it before I show it to you. The reason why I'm showing this to you is because this is for those of you who are on the same level in page as me as it pertains to autonomy. We have a professor, right? A tenured professor in our community who has started a charter school, right, for Israelites. Okay. It's a junior high school charter school that they've created. All right. And they are trying to get funding for it. They're trying to get it accredited, state accredited, because her academy, which is, you know, where she actually has students there, has been federally accredited, but they're working on state accreditation, right? They're trying to get it fully accredited and fully funded, all right, by the community. And they need surveys like these to make it possible, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and show y'all this survey, right? And y'all can go through the survey. And I'm gonna post the link for it in the description box. So after this discussion is over and the session is over, you can go back, click on it, and take the survey, all right? Or you can just jot it down when I bring it up on the screen, which I'm about to bring it up right now, all right? Again, this is our end game. The end game is the application of the stuff that we're teaching. You know what I'm saying? What are we yielding as far as giving back to the community, all right? So this charter school is virtual, which means it doesn't matter where you're at on this planet. If you have internet access, then your child can be part of this virtual charter school for Israelites. All right? We have to support these things, family. This is how we're able to become a true community and become autonomous by providing for ourselves, okay, and giving to ourselves. All right, I'll show you some services that I offer. Okay, I'm on the board of directors for this virtual charter school. Okay, so what I want to say is this. When you look at this is giving you a couple of questions. Do you reside in the state of Georgia? Do you have school-age children? Choose one that applies. Would you be interested in enrolling your junior high or high school student in a tuition-free virtual charter school? Would you be interested in enrolling your children in a virtual charter school that teaches the Bible from a historical and cultural perspective as permitted by GA law? Would you be interested in enrolling your children in a virtual charter school that offers the following foreign languages: Spanish, Hebrew, Mandarin, Swahili? Okay, are you interested in enrolling your children in a virtual charter school that requires them to come to a physical location once a week for tutoring, academic counseling, and socialization? Transportation will be provided in most cases. Look how awesome this is. Would you be interested in enrolling your children in a virtual charter school that enriches their experience by developing life skills such as gardening and sewing? Would you be interested in enrolling your children in a virtual charter school that offers dual enrollment and career training? How can we contact you to provide you with information when this school becomes available? An email address is sufficient. Please fill out this SurveyMonkey survey. So that way, the more surveys that we get completed, the faster we can get the ball rolling to standardize this thing across the board, to release it, to implement it, to maintain it, right? To get y'all involved, and we can actually have something to call our own. I'm on the board of directors for this. I so wholeheartedly support the sister that's behind this. Okay, and we're gonna put out a promo video really soon once this part is all established. But we need your help to get this done. We need your help to get this done, family. All right, so nobody can make an excuse anymore that, oh, we don't have this, don't we have that? No, we do have it. And when it's presented to you, are you willing to support it so it can become a reality? So you can get your children, enrolled, right? So you don't have to worry about what the public education system is indoctrinating them with. We have this at our fingertips, family. Let's support it. All right. Again, as far as the link is concerned, it's here at the very top. Y'all can see it here. And I will put this link in the description box when this session ends. All right. So hopefully that was helpful to somebody. Hopefully somebody can appreciate that. All right. Van Colt, great question. Let's save that for next session, because that will be another 2 hours, right? So we'll just save that for next session. All right, I got you. You can email that to me as well, so I don't forget, and we can address it next session. Okay. J Lockhart, I still don't see your email, but I'm assuming you sent it when you sent the donation, so I'll check it when I close the session. But please, family, please support that. Again, for some reason, it's not allowing me to post it in the chat, which is crazy. I don't know why. But anyway, like I said, it'll be in the description box. All right. Please support this virtual Israelite charter school for our community. All right. People have been asking for this. We finally got the ball rolling with something, but we need your help to bring it into fruition. All right. So please support that. All right. So, hey, KHM is involved in a whole bunch of things that are bringing actual service, products, and goods to our community, that are bringing our community together, that is reestablishing and restoring our cultural identity, and is being able to bring us into a more close-knit community that is autonomous, so that we can rely on each other. So that way, when the judgments hit, we will not be tethered to society, but we will be relying upon each other. So that way, we will be a called and set apart people. So when Yah returns, he can receive us unto himself without spot and without blemish. And autonomy is the vehicle that's going to get us to that destination. All right. So hopefully y'all enjoyed it. Yes, Jay Lockhart, you can send it to my Facebook page. Divine Prospect, let me up on Facebook, Divine Prospect. Send me a inbox message with your email, and I'll take care of you. All right. Shout out to Bakar, the Israelite in the building. Shalom, shalom. So family, we're going to keep these things going, keep the information coming, keep the services going. Whatever it is that we can do for y'all, we're here to do it. If you guys want to join KHM, send an email to kingdomharbinger@gmail.com. Put in the subject membership, and we'll go ahead and review. We're going to be giving out membership applications soon for new people that want to come on board. And if you guys want to support, share this link, keep us in prayer, or donate, right? Those are the 3 ways that you can help. All right. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you for supporting this channel, man. I mean, you know, I strive my best to sacrifice time, effort, and energy to bring y'all this information because I care about y'all and I want the best for y'all. I know you want the best for me as well. In KHM, we're doing our part in the community, all right? And we want to encourage you guys to do the same. So with that, family, I love you guys. Stay tuned to the next broadcast this upcoming weekend. Peace and shalom.